Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, and y'all know what that means. Time to take a nap because we're exhausted. But if you can manage to stay awake for a little while longer, it is time for another episode of Heavy Metallurgy. My name is Alan. I'm here from the Let's Talk Metal channel here on YouTube. And as always, I'm here with my legendary co-host. You've been promoted from esteemed to legendary this week.
Wow.
Marty Richtonen, also known as Marty Worm of Bindroom Recordings. Marty, you've been a busy boy today, I know, so I'm not even going to insult you by asking how you're doing because I know you're as tired as I am. Yeah, how are things going?
It's good. It's good. It's been a long day, but I had to work in a long overdue Heavy Metallurgy merch drop. Here some time back, we had friend of the show, Mark Riddick, on, who we had a great time with. We're going to bring him on again soon, hopefully. And he donated some artwork for the channel to print for shirts, and I finally got them all done. Links are in the description. Now on the Bind Room page, there is a drop down menu, and you can actually select Heavy Metallurgy and go to a section of Heavy Metallurgy merch, which now. Well, I'll just show them. They turned out really cool. Here, I'm going to blow myself up here. So we've got short sleeve, long sleeves in black and white, and hoodies of this Riddick design. So check this out.
That looks so sick.
Same on both sides.
Same print on both sleeves. And Pestilence Streams Eternal on the back.
Yep, those are the long sleeves. The white only comes in long sleeve. I had some extras laying around, so I printed them up.
That actually shows up really good on the white.
Same on both sides.
Yes, the sleeve print. It was funny too because we're just like, yeah, we could. Yeah, the sleeve. It looks great. And Mark's like, do you need something on the sleeves? We're like, I don't know. He's like, here, I'll whip something up. And it's like 15 minutes later, he sends this awesome sleeve design out of nowhere.
Here's the short sleeves.
Yep, same slogan on the back.
Now the hoodies, I printed up a handful of them because I wanted to make sure everybody that contributes to the channel, like our freelancers and stuff, people you see on here quite often, they're getting a little care package from us and the hoodies. So I printed up stuff for them, but I put the hoodies up as a pre-order. I'd like to try to populate for a couple of weeks. And hey, Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So I'm going to populate orders for a couple of weeks on the hoodies because I can't afford to stock a whole bunch of hoodies around. But here's the hoodie. Left chest.
Yeah, get the.
I'm not a Vanna White. I'll tell you right straight up. Or Price is Right presenter model. One sleeve. Pestilence Streams Eternal down the other sleeve. In the back.
Spaghetti sauce, Tim.
Yeah, white, me too. I get, either a kidney bean or spaghetti sauce or ketchup on without even wearing it. It's amazing. So yeah, that's it. Links to Mark Riddick's art page is in the description. I added that. The new direct link to the Heavy Metallurgy merch is there. All the links to all this stuff is there, plus our old stuff. There might be another merch.
Buy the shirt off your back, Marty.
What about that or the Therion thong I'm wearing? You interested, Ryan?
Somewhere Melanie's ears just perked up because she said thong.
Yeah, right. So yeah, there's going to be another merch drop coming up. Probably next week if everything goes according to plan. It's one I've already mentioned, the whole collector scum thing that has actually come to fruition, and I just didn't have time to get it on screen today.
Really good though. It
should look really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, that's it. Thank you again to our friend Mark Riddick. Mark, you're going to be getting a care package of all this stuff as well. I don't know if you wear your own designs, but we're going to be hooking you up with this stuff for sure. But everybody, go to the link in the description. Go check out Mark's art page. Go buy some swag. Make the day worthwhile for this old man in a sweaty garage. Yeah, it sure does put the death in death metal. Yep. But yep, that's it. So that's that. Cheers.
Yep. Everything turned out absolutely great, I'd say. And with that, I think it's high time we brought on tonight's guest, who has picked a really fun topic for us. It's a longtime recurring guest of the show, one of the most knowledgeable headbangers on YouTube. He needs no introduction, but we'll introduce him anyway. Jurgen Allen.
The legend.
Legend.
Since we're throwing around the word legend rather loosely tonight.
The German metal god.
Yep. He is a true legend of this bunch.
Thanks for
I've seen every heavy metal band play live without driving more than 45 minutes from his couch.
And has been in 13% of those bands.
And has played with at least one out of every 4.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, man.
It's 17%.
17? Yeah, I forgot. Yep.
You didn't factor in that winter tour from '93, Marty. You lost 4% there.
So what's going on, Jurgen?
What's going on?
What's been going on? Nothing?
Nothing. No. It's getting summertime. So that's why I choose the topic. You wrote me 2 days ago. You want to invite me to the show.
Yep.
And you asked me about a topic. And I looked out of the window and thought, summertime albums, maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't think we will see a lot of black and death metal tonight.
Some, but not much.
Really? Okay, I'm out.
I've got a couple. A couple things.
I only listen to Zaster in summer.
Right.
I may need help. Somebody call a prevention hotline, please.
The summer makes me depressing, so I listen to a lot of winter.
That's just confusing.
But it's good to see Jurgen's channel back up and running again with a little frequency again. I'm a big fan, always was. I was kind of sad when you axed it the first time, but I understand sometimes it's good to start fresh. Albert Ample came around for a while, and now it's I can't remember, 9 wives, 6 strings, 9 wives. Yeah. Yep, perfect. A shout out to Darcy.
As soon as Darcy finishes putting out all the wildfires, there's going to be some litigation coming your way.
Yes.
Just saying.
No,
I'm a lawyer, but they're a little preoccupied right now.
Yeah.
Actually, I asked him for permission, and I've got his email stored away, so I have the proof.
Right.
So no problem at all.
Good deal. Good deal. No, it's all good fun.
Yeah. He just laughed about when I wrote him before I renamed the channel.
I'm sure Darcy got the joke and had fun with it for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we have to get Darcy back on too. We've checked a couple times. He's been on vacation forever, and now he's surrounded by fire. Hope everybody in Canada is doing well. Yeah. If anybody is, in all seriousness, if anybody's close to those areas that are having issues, hope everybody is staying safe.
Someone told me it was 9 million acres that have burned or on fire or something ridiculous. Holy crap. Wow. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But well, anyway, and on one other thing, there's a link to Jurgen's channel, of course, in the description, and he's got a big stack of records he's trying to sell. So go to that video and see if there's anything there that you're interested in.
I've got two more things. First up, I restarted the channel and doing more frequent stuff because I have no friends in real life.
See, that's the problem. If I lived down around the corner, you wouldn't be you'd be like, is this guy ever going to leave?
Yeah, professional alcoholics. Yeah.
I can hang.
Speaking about Darcy, I'm going to do a live stream with Darcy, Metal Mickey, and Thomas from Merciful Metal about our 10 favorite German metal albums in, I guess it's 3 weeks. Yeah. Friday. Just awesome. Before you do your show.
Sweet. Yeah, and I just signed on with Mike Metal Mickey to do a Comfort Zones episode with him coming up in August, I guess. I told him, I said, that seems like a year away. August.
Yeah, he already told me he's gonna pause for the Comfort Zone videos for next month because they are going to do a Contact in Blood stream and the stream with Darcy, Thomas, and me.
Awesome.
So he said he's gonna pause for a month.
Nice.
Right on. Well, I hope he likes what I made him listen to, making him listen to. So we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, we're here tonight to talk about summertime albums. Jurgen, what do you think of when you think of summertime albums?
Summertime albums brings back a lot of memories for me because when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, we met up with the older guys, the heavy metal guys from our town, and we met up at a lake or maybe in the public pool, and we always had a boombox with us. So a lot of my choices will come in pairs because my memories are always those little tapes, and it had an A side and a B side with different albums. So my choices will be two at a time.
Okay.
Because that's my memory.
Right on. Well, you might as well get the ball rolling then. Do your two, and we'll run around the horn here. See what we can come up with.
Okay, I'm first.
You're first.
We're gonna get something out of the way right at the beginning of the show.
See, I refrain from picking any because I didn't want people to hurl garbage at me, but I listen to a lot of Halloween all the time, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but, it's a band of all seasons for Marty.
Marty told me before, I'm not gonna show Halloween, but you will. And I said, no, I won't.
Right.
And he said, I'm gonna throw you out of the stream. So here we go, Halloween. Speedy German heavy metal, as
Perfect.
everybody knows, but it's
perfection.
Summertime, yeah. If you don't want to go the normal rock and roll route, it's at least speedy heavy metal. But I think this is probably the hardest stuff or the fastest stuff I'm gonna show in that whole stream. So, for a joke at the beginning, Halloween with their first two albums. A lot of people might think the Keepers albums are more of a summertime records, but for me, it's these two. What do you think, Marty?
Man, I like all eras, so it's really hard to. I would say probably Keepers are probably. I mean, you kind of nailed it there. I would say the Keepers are a little more fun, but those, I mean, there's a ton of fun on those two albums too. It's a little more speed metal oriented, but perfect. It's perfect. Perfect.
Just
all that stuff is good.
Another little announcement: there's gonna be a lot of re-sleeving in this video from I thought about bringing that to the big stages and go on tour with that, just re-sleeving albums for 1.5 hours, but
that would be hilarious. You just re-sleeving for, that would be great. Not saying a word, just re-sleeving and having a drink. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, shutting up, and I'm gonna stop the show when I drop off the chair.
Perfect.
That's why I always sit on the ground when we're doing live streams, so I can't fall over.
Perfect.
You're already triggering Ben, so.
All right, Alan, you are up. Summertime.
Summertime. Well, one thing, summertime always makes you feel like, wanting to have a good cold beer. Tonight I've got something called Hop Beard. This is from Fonta Flora, which is a brewery in Western North Carolina. They do some good stuff. It is some kind of IPA, which usually not my favorite, but we're going to give this a try and see. I like most of the stuff this brewery puts out, so we're going to give this one a chance. As far as summer stuff goes, Jurgen's exactly right. It tends to bring up a lot of, summer memories because, when you're younger, you're maybe just, working a relatively easy job somewhere or spending a lot of time goofing off with friends and all. So yeah, some of the stuff I have tonight is definitely from kind of way back in the teenage days. Some of the stuff I have is also from sort of non-metal directions, because there's always some music that you just hear a lot in the summer, particularly associated with road trips. That certain songs you just happen to hear a whole bunch over and over, and they kind of become part of your summer soundtrack. Perfect example for me to start with is this one. Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. I cannot tell you how many yards I have mowed in my life listening to this album on headphones. That was one of my main sources of income as a teenager, was mowing grass for friends, family, neighbors. Grew up in an area with a lot of aging elderly relatives, so they were more than happy to have some of the neighborhood kids or grandkids or whatever take care of that stuff for them. You of course wanted to not listen to a lawnmower just hours, so you'd get in, you'd put the tape in, you'd play it as loud as you could. Lord knows how much damage we did to our ears. The thing with mowing lawns and listening to music was you had to pick certain things. You couldn't listen to a lot of thrash or death metal because it sounded too much like the lawnmower engine in the background, and it just kind of blended together. You really couldn't hear the music very well. So with some trial and error, I started to learn certain things would still come through the headphones pretty well, some wouldn't. And stuff like Motley Crue actually worked quite well. So yeah, Shout at the Devil. I had a 90-minute cassette tape. They had this on one side, Theater of Pain on the other. Never really played the Theater of Pain side very much. I would just play Shout at the Devil, fast forward or rewind it, and play Shout at the Devil again. So yeah, this one, anytime I look at this one, and it's arguably the best Motley Crue album. Somebody name one to prove me wrong. Challenge out there. But yeah, anytime I see this, you can still smell cut grass. I can still feel the yellow jackets stinging me, in the back where I've gone too close to one of their nests. Sun, sweat, lots of cold iced tea, ice water, Mountain Dew, whatever you could to get the job done.
The lawnmower was the best instrument on that Motley Crue album, says Tim.
It was at least the most talented instrument. I can't really argue that point. Might have had a little more training than some of the guys. But so yeah, Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil is one that I played a lot working outdoors throughout my youth in the summers.
But did any of the members actually play on that album is the next question.
Well, they posed for pictures for the cover.
Oh yeah, not gonna miss that.
They got credits for sales, I'm sure.
Yeah, Kiss did as well.
Yep.
Yeah, some of those. It is interesting. A lot of those allegations coming out, in more recent years of yeah, you guys didn't play a note of that, and hey, it's not like Vince Neil sings any of the notes from it now live either, so at least he's consistent.
Right on.
All right, Marty. So yes, I'm starting at the lighter end of the spectrum. Where are you going to start with your summertime list?
Well, for me as well, there's some nostalgia in this stack, but not a lot of death and black metal. There is a few things here and there, but since Jurgen kind of got the ball rolling with the Halloween, I thought this was actually one of the first things I picked. When I think of summer, I think of this album for some reason, Land of the Free by Gamma Ray.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lighthearted aura to this record. It's Kai at his peak, really. Songwriting, he's left, free. He decided to. I think the early Gamma Ray records are pretty experimental. You could tell he was, the first two in particular, was tired of doing Halloween. He wanted to try some different stuff. He did some different stuff, varying successes. There was some weird crap on those records. I still enjoy them, but they were just weird. Insanity and Genius was a step in a better direction, but when he finally decided that he was coming back to the vocals and embracing his inner Queen, as in the song Man on a Mission, that whole breakdown in the middle is a total Queen worship part. A little bit of speed metal mixed in with the power metal. This is just a fun, amazing record that you can crank and drive around with the windows down and feel pretty good about your choice. It's got Kiska on here again, Time to Break Free. He did some backing vocals here and there as well. Awesome. Probably the best Gamma Ray album. Jurgen, Alan, would you guys agree? I mean, I like a lot of Gamma Ray, don't get me wrong, but this one's really good.
I think either this one or the No World Order album.
Yeah. And you know what? The Empire of the Undead, kind of underrated. There's some really good shit on that record.
Yeah,
It really took me a lot of listens to get around, but once it finally clicked, I ended up listening to that one a lot.
Yeah, I think I would rank that one as my favorite, Marty. If not, it's awfully close. I think when we ranked them a couple of years ago, I had it ranked number 1. But they've got a lot of really good albums. You know, it's people could pick other ones, and I wouldn't argue with them much.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Jurgen?
The fun thing is that album came out in '95, right?
Yeah,
that sounds right.
And I've seen them on that tour, right around the corner, at the summer metal meetings.
Right on.
So perfect.
Yeah. I wish I was there. Ian, thank you so much. Oops, sorry, Alan.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, thank you very much, Ian.
Appreciate all of you folks. Thanks for hanging with us tonight, as always.
Yes, and if anyone's joining late, we really appreciate the super chats, but don't miss out on the fact Marty previewed some really cool shirts at the beginning of the show, and links to that are in the show description. So you may also want to save your money and pick up some cool Mark Riddick Art stuff to wear. Just making sure folks know that if they came in a little bit late.
Right on. And that brings us back to Jurgen with his second duo of summertime blasting.
So Alan was showing off his beer, so I'm going to do that as well. I drink Gutmann. It may sound a little funny because it's the Gutman.
Gutman.
And it's from a town called, can you see that?
No.
Titting.
Huh.
Oh.
So, okay, my next are 3 albums of the same band because I had them all on a C90 tape and I played it in the car all the time because it's summertime driving music. And it's this trilogy of the best 3 best Bad Religion albums. Not a bad song on any of these albums. The other ones by Bad Religion are a little bit sketchy, I think. But Suffer, it's a blast, it's fast, it's furious, it's melodic. Same here. And they developed a little bit. They had 2 or 3 pretty poppy songs on that album, but still fast, melodic, memorable. You can sing along to it. Windows down, pedal to the metal. Perfect summer albums for driving long distances. Yeah, and you can sing along with your friends in the car.
No, that's a great choice. People don't talk about Bad Religion all that much anymore. It used to be a name that came up a lot more. I can't remember the last time I played No Control, but yeah, that's an excellent pick.
For me, it's these 3. The first one is pretty cool, but it's basic punk rock, not as developed. The second one, Into the Unknown, is an attempt of Bad Religion doing an AOR album with keyboards. Have you ever heard that?
I don't think so.
It's called Into the Unknown. It was supposed to be their second album, and it's like keyboardy AOR, basically. And then they started with releasing Suffer.
Okay.
But after that one, I had a Generator on in the car. But Generator, it's got a couple of cool songs, but yeah, it's starting to get downward. So these 3.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
I don't know their catalog real well. I know a little bit of their very early stuff, and then like around No Control. But there's big chunks of their catalog I've never checked out.
Yeah, perfect albums for the summer.
Okay, Alan.
Well, teenage Ellen can't experience summer without band camp stories. because yes,
Does this
band
have
nerd-
anything to do with a flute?
Nope, no flutes. Had a lot to do with having to do marching band practice, like in July and August in the South, when it's like 85 degrees and 95% humidity, and you're standing there in the middle of a big field, carrying a trombone or a drum or something. That's not a fun way to spend the time. But we did a lot of that back in the thing. Our high school marching band was actually one of the better ones in the state, so we practiced a lot since we did a lot of the competitions and all that stuff. But they did have to give you water breaks every now and then, and whenever there was a chance to, take a break and just kind of go put things down, plop in the shade in the parking lot for a while.
Sorry.
Frosty, it's not. It's okay. No, most of the other kids in my high school didn't seem to quite grasp the magnanimity of what Ted Poley represented. That was more my band. I was the only one who was really on that level, or this level, whichever level it was. But one that we would go jam in the parking lot quite a bit happened to be this album, Exodus, Fabulous Disaster. Why was it this album? Because it was the only Exodus album any of us owned.
It's a good album. It's a good album.
It is. It's a very fun album. But I mean, just saying, it's kind of maybe an odd choice. If folks are going to say, why weren't you playing Bonded by Blood? None of us had it. Why weren't we playing Pleasures of the Flesh? None of us had it. But a couple of us had Bonded by Blood, which means everybody had copied it, onto a TDK. And so we all had Fabulous Disaster. And so this was the one we cranked. It is a kind of a fun album. You got Exodus always had a little bit of a sense of humor without getting too much into the pizza thrash, really stupid side of it. I know people don't like the Lowrider cover, and yeah, it's kind of bad. But when you're a teenage kid goofing off in a parking lot, it's kind of fun just to goof to. Last Act of Defiance, lots of good stuff on here that you could just kind of jam to. When you've got, 15 or 20 minutes, you put this on, you bang your head a few bits, and then you go pick up your bass drum and you march around in a circle for another 3 hours and 45 minutes, following the cute girl beside you. Always glad when you have to turn right instead of left, because then you can follow her instead of following, the big guy with the drum next to you. But yeah, this just happened to be one that was always in our playlists in the summer when we had to do band camp kind of stuff. Fabulous Disaster was our go-to thrash album. We also went to, I guess the other one was Annihilator, the second one, Never Neverland, which again, why wasn't it Alice in Hell? Because none of us owned Alice in Hell. We all had Never Neverland because one kid, Mike, had that Annihilator tape. So that's the one that made its way throughout the school.
Venom says that home taping is killing music. Just saying.
Well, look at the
good job, Ellen.
Look at the music industry now. Maybe they were right. Maybe
they were right. Maybe they were right.
Yeah, home fucking is killing prostitution.
Right. All right. Well, this one goes back to 1990, and I picked this up a couple years ago in the used bin because of the nostalgia around it. You could not get away from Northern Michigan radio without hearing Jet City Woman by Queensryche off the Empire album. It was a summer, and that and Silent Lucidity. I mean, that was, their obvious Pink Floyd thing, but those two songs were on the radio all the time. And Jet City Woman, to this day, it comes on the radio, like satellite radio or whatever. It's a turn up, windows down type of situation. It's just such a catchy, stupid catchy commercial pop metal song. Is this their best album? Of course not, but there's some good stuff on here. Jet City Woman being the one, for me anyway. But yeah, I can't not look at this record and not hear that song and not want to listen to that song. It's just a super catchy, nostalgic track for me. So yeah, Queensryche, Empire, good summertime jams for sure.
Good pick. Yeah, there's almost enough good songs on that album to make it a good album, but it's close.
$4 is all I paid for it, so I'm fine to have it. I'll put it on and play the two that I want to hear, and the rest of it can fuck off.
That's fine. What's yep. Yeah, and yeah, Silent Lucidity, no one could escape that song for like a full year. There was no getting around it.
It is Alex V85. It is a great song.
For some reason, that album reminds me of summer as well. I was not very much into Queensryche in 91 came. This one came out 90 or 91.
It says 80 on the back. 1990. I'm sorry, 1990.
Okay, so it was the summer of 1990, and I went to a festival show in Germany with AC/DC, Metallica when the Black Album came out, or just before the Black Album came out, and Queensryche also played. So, yeah, summer memories for me as well.
Yep.
Cool choice.
All right.
Okay, yeah. Empire was September 4th, 1990. Okay, so yeah, kind of late 1990. So it would have spilled over into 91 quite a bit. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wasn't the leadoff single Silent Lucidity? I mean,
no, actually, I think the leadoff single was Best I Can. I might be wrong.
Was it?
I think Silent Lucidity was the second or third, because the album had already been out and gained some traction before Silent Lucidity went absolutely bonkers.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
MTV made you almost hate that stupid song after a while. They played it so much. They had a knack for doing that crap.
They did, yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Best I Can was the lead single, but if anybody knows different in the chat, please let us know. What else got released as singles? Jet City Woman was, Another Rainy Night was. So did they have 4 singles in there?
Empire, they had a video for that.
Oh, yeah. Yep, the title track, too. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they got some mileage out of that album.
Then Another Rainy Night's a great song, too. That really is a good, that's a really good one.
Yep.
It's very much in line with Jet City Woman. It has the same kind of flair to it, for sure.
Yeah. Both those songs, too, they feel a little closer to, like, the Operation Mindcrime end of the spectrum.
Yeah. All right. Jurgen, you're back.
Okay, we were talking about an album that had a lot of singles. So I pulled out that one. I was 11 years old when this little fucker came around.
MTV got their hooks in that one too, big time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Almost every song was a single.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really deep cuts on that album, but I still love it to that day. I hate Bon Jovi. I hate the stuff they released before that album. I hate the stuff they released after that. But this one, for some reason, maybe it's just my nostalgia or something like that, but I still love that album. Wanted Dead or Alive is one of the greatest ballads, and I still can listen to it. It's not played to death for me. The title track is a great song. Let It Rock, the opening song. Raise Your Hands. A lot of great shit on that album. So I'm gonna get some flack for that, maybe. But what the fuck? I don't care. I was 11 years old, and 37 years later, I still love that album.
Jurgen was not listening to death metal until he was 11 and a half, folks. So cut the man some slack.
Exactly. You got to start somewhere.
Those 6 months make a big difference, when you're growing up.
Actually, I started listening to death metal I was already 13.
Oh, wow.
Does that make me a wimp?
Poser.
All right.
Confessions.
Good stuff. And again, it completely a summer album. I would agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? I don't, like I said, I don't care for Bon Jovi, but there are really cool and memorable songs on that album.
It couldn't be much for hair metal stuff. They're like the kings. That album in particular, the original album cover was better. Just saying, but no, how can you deny it? I mean, again, MTV killed it for me. They play those songs over and over and over and over. Every time you turn it on, there was a Bon Jovi song going
Yeah,
on.
that might be the plus for us in Germany because we didn't have MTV back then.
Yeah. Predix says it, pretty well here. As much as we'd all, like to protect our true metal street cred and say Bon Jovi sucks, the album does have a place. Can't really deny it.
Yep. All right, Alan.
All right, I'm going to stay in the high school parking lot for at least one more album. Didn't mean to go through these chronologically, but it's how it's played out so far. Another one, something we occasionally could get away with at times in high school is you could technically leave campus during lunch and like run out somewhere else to get lunch. I think it only worked maybe my first couple of years of high school, but yeah, if you had access to a car and there was like a break at band camp or something, you could run over to something like a Dairy Queen, or we didn't even have Dairy Queen. We had like the knockoff version of Dairy Queen called Tasty Freeze, which was fine. We loved it. Don't get me wrong. But you could have just enough time to jump in the car, run over, get some kind of snack, and blast some tunes before you had to get back in line and start marching, playing 1812 Overture or some crap. Another huge one for us, during those quick snack runs was this album, Guns N' Roses Lies. Now, we did have access to Appetite for Destruction, but that was already a few years in the rearview mirror. This was the latest thing that, GNR had released. And so, every teenage kid had run out and bought a copy of it if their parents would let them, and if they didn't get snagged by the parental advisory police with the cashier at the record store turning them down. Not claiming it's Guns N' Roses' finest hour. There's some fun tracks. There's some weird tracks. This one, if I remember right, has live tracks spliced on the end of it. But yeah, it's kind of a fun, summertime listen. Obviously not the kind of album that would get released these days or do particularly well if it did. But at the time, Guns N' Roses were probably the biggest band on the planet. The only thing that could have challenged them as a heavy band around that time might have been Def Leppard. And I feel like Def Leppard was already a little past their zenith. So, GNR could have, basically just, sat here and recorded Dead Air and they would have sold, a few million copies of it. But Lies, it's kind of just, a fun nostalgia thing. It's not a very serious album, but it was definitely part of the soundtrack of running around town in the summer, looking for a quick snack in between, marching band practice and whatever else you had going on at school. That's all I've got to say about that one. Sorry. We've got a super chat there. Jack, appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack.
Nope, nobody has mentioned Crown Death Race King yet, but yeah, I know some folks that definitely dig that album. Haven't thought of that one in a long time, so nice shout out there. All right, Marty, I'll pass it on over to you.
All right. Sorry. Okay, let's just go here. We'll get all the hair stuff out of the way. I don't know what it is about this dumb album, but I always loved it, and it was always a summertime thing for me. Kiss Asylum, they're glam. They're shot at them wading into the glam territory, but this is actually a good record, whereas the couple that came after this record are really not that good. King of the Mountain, Any Way You Slice It, Who Wants to Be Lonely, again, big hits on MTV. Tears Are Falling, of course, All Night. It's Kiss at their cheesiest, but there's some good songwriting on here. Always liked it. This one is a summer jam from my youth. And my favorite of the Kiss solo albums, the Paul Stanley solo album. It's the most atmospheric, the best songwriting. I like Aces a lot too, but there's something mystical about this album. And it always puts me in mind of being young, sitting on a yard rocking chair with a tape deck, with a old realistic tape deck. I recorded it. I used to hold the tape deck up to my record player's speaker and record it, and sit out in the front yard and watch cars go by listening to Kiss. So it reminds me of sitting out in the middle of the summer swatting mosquitoes and listening to this record. So a lot of love for this one for sure. So yeah, that's that.
Kiss makes sense as a good summertime band for sure.
Sure.
I hate Kiss.
I you know what? Anybody hates them, I'm not going to argue the point because I get it. I get why people hate it.
Yeah.
I've
I don't
got
hate Kiss.
one.
They were just never part of, they were just never a big part of my personal soundtrack for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I got no problem with them.
Yeah, I hate them is maybe a little too harsh. Yeah, I've got one album, and that is their progressive album. What's the name? Music from the Elder.
Oh, I love that record. That's like one of my favorite Kiss records.
I just bought that because every Kiss fan hated it back then. So that's the reason I got that. So Jack was right. This is a summer death metal album. Yeah, never thought about that. Death Race King by The Crown. Just pulled that out. So my next two bring me back to the public swimming pool. Like I said, we had the elders of heavy metal in my little town. They were sitting there with their shorts on, bare-chested, but with a battle jacket over it. They were sitting in a circle. They had a ghetto blaster in the middle, and they had a water pipe, a big water pipe, a bong. And we were scared of them, but they invited us because they saw we wore metal t-shirts as well.
That dude likes Bon Jovi. Let him hit this bong. Sorry.
And the first couple of days, we got to know them. They always played a tape with these two on it. So not really summertime albums, but for me, these are summertime albums for some reason. For that reason. So TRI's compilation of the Violent Pacification and some bonus tracks. Very short one, and of course everybody knows that one. That was my first contact with hardcore music. I listened to some German punk rock before that, but really, really hardcore music. These guys in my little town inspired me to listen to that. And I think I'm going to come up with another pair of stuff like that. So up until this day, when I listen to these, I think about summer. No matter what season it is when I play them. So,
awesome.
What do you think? Is any of these two summer albums?
For me, it would have been DRI's Dealing With It, but I like that one too. But yeah, the SOD album, yeah, absolutely. Cody, go be a dick somewhere else. Seriously. God, people are so stupid. Anyway, sorry. He'll be back. He's a professional troll apparently. Anyway, no, those are good picks for sure.
Okay.
Alan, sorry, I'm distracted by the chat. Okay, here you go.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, there's a lot of good comments in chat, but yeah, some folks not playing nice either. Let's see. I think we got one more high school one here, so I might as well go ahead and wrap that segment up. Very much a non-metal kind of thing, but we played this a lot. Summer of '91. The album had been out for a while, I think, but for whatever reason, summer of '91, it just kept getting played a lot. And so it's always been in my summertime playlists. It's Black Crowes, Shake Your Moneymaker. This, of course, is, very, Southern, bluesy, just kind of, rock stuff. It was all over the radio. Lots of big, radio hits. She Talks to Angels and all that stuff. Growing up in the rural South, this band was, practically invented for me and my ilk. It's exactly the kind of thing that appealed to a ton of folks in my area, and it was interesting because almost everybody liked it to an extent. This was one of those albums that it wasn't just for the country kids or just for the metal kids or just for the kids that were more into rap or hip hop. Almost everybody in high school you could put this on and nobody really complained about it much. Which was not an easy thing to pull off, of course, in a high school. But yeah, even after high school, this was one of those albums that often, if I had to do a lot of driving in the summer, and we'll be getting to summer road trip albums here pretty soon, this was very much one of those kind of things that would always be in the stack of CDs or tapes to get played at some point during the day where it's just really hot. You could roll the windows down, and it's just good driving music. It's laid back, but it keeps you interested. You're not going to drift off or anything. You can sing along to it. Yeah, fun album. I never kept up with the band's career at all. I heard, an album here or there over time. Nothing else ever really clicked with me. This one, it just hits all the right buttons, and it's been a staple every summer ever since 1991. So yeah, not a heavy metal pick. There's going to be a few of them I show tonight that are way outside the heavy metal bounds, but this first Black Crowes album, a very cool, fun summer listen if you can dig the southern rock sound.
All right,
Marty, what you got next?
Funnily enough, Black Crowes was the opening band with that AC/DC, Metallica, and Queensrÿche show.
Oh my God, you've even seen Black Crowes live without leaving your couch. Oh my God, I'm broken from that. It's a joke and kind of a meme with Jurgen, but the Black Crowes,
they opened for Sodom back in '92.
Marty, you go ahead with the pick. I need a minute to reboot here.
You broke Alan with your Black Crowes.
Damn it.
Yeah. He'll be back. While he's processing that, I'm going to get in with my my last, I think, hair metal. I think, yeah. Oh my God, I love these records. Invasion of Your Privacy and Dancing Undercover. As far as the hair metal stuff goes, this band was the king for me. I don't know what it was about these guys. The guitar playing, the singing, Stephen Pearcy's vocals were very unique. They weren't pretty boy style. They're kind of street urchin kind of singing, which I dig. Songwriting is good. Just a great band. This is my favorite. This is a close second. I know Darcy and his channel he just unboxed that massive Rat box set. But again, I remember my family and my wife's family when we were kids. We've known each other a very long time. They would all get together in a motorhome and drive around the coast, Lake Michigan. They go bar hopping, and we'd be in the back playing rummy or board game, and I'd have my Walkman on listening to these records. Love it. So good. 1985. It was just about this time I was starting to get into the heavier stuff. So Rat was like the one hanger on that stuck with me all these years.
I can tell you that much about Rat because I was never into them. I don't know.
Damn it. Sorry. Ban and delete their... Ah!
So
pain in the ass.
I can't read the comments right now because I've got such a small monitor. What is it with that guy?
With the guy I'm banning or Trump? Yeah. I don't know. The guy who I'm banning is going on and on about woke and Trump and just being a jerk in the comments, and he keeps coming back after I ban him. He signs up with a new account. So
okay,
whatever. Go to another stream.
I have to say one thing about that topic. Live and let live.
Exactly.
If you're not all right with something, don't try to teach others what to do.
Nope.
Never fucking do that.
Nope. People need to go back to a time where they voted and not tell anybody who they vote for. Just vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote. Just don't tell me about it. I don't care. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Nor do I want to hear about it. So
yeah,
that's why this country is so broken. One of the reasons. One of the many reasons.
Yeah. But that is what they say, divide and conquer.
Yep.
Because it's easier to suppress people when they are divided.
Exactly. Yep. Some
Then
people wouldn't
together-
have anything to talk about if they didn't do crap like that too, which is annoying. But
We did some chats after the stream, and I think you're gonna guess in which political direction I tend.
Yeah.
But what the fuck? Don't let a friendship be fucked up by some stupid ass politicians.
or family. I mean, all that crap.
Be it the right, be it the left. The left and right is just a game.
It is.
It's a game to divide people.
Agreed,
So-
100%.
Yeah.
We need
Try
to
to
make Jurgen his own shirt. All right. It's
Okay,
Jurgen's turn.
Another summertime album that relates to festivals and concerts. I know this one did not come out in the summertime, but for some reason I saw them 4 times within, I don't know, 3 weeks or 4 weeks on that tour, and it was always outside outdoor festivals.
Mine too. Mine was, in an open amphitheater in the summer.
Yeah, and I just love that album. I don't know why, because when you really analyze it and compare it to the older stuff, it's basically a boring record if you analyze it. But from the feeling, this is my favorite modern day. It's already 23 years ago. Old, summertime album. So I saw them at the Full Force Festival in Germany. Saw them at the Dynamo in Holland. Saw them at the Metal 2000 with Motorhead and Slayer and stuff. And the best one is, look at my ticket number
666N.
for an Iron Maiden ticket. Yeah.
Perfect.
So summertime album. Yeah. Seen them in the summer 4 times.
All right. Alan.
Yeah, that would make sense as a summertime album. It's got kind of that bright vibe about it. All right, let's see. Switching then into some road trip music.
What's up, Jason? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, nope. Good to see Jason in the chat tonight. There were a few summers in a row in the late 90s where I did a lot of driving back and forth across North Carolina on Interstate 40. For folks that aren't, in this part of the country, North Carolina is a much longer state than people tend to realize. If you're driving north-south, it doesn't take that long to get through the state. If you're trying to go from Raleigh to Asheville, you're looking at 6 or 7 hours of interstate driving. The state just keeps going and going and going. So you've got lots of time to play a lot of records. And one that was always in the pickup for those road trips was this one, Virgin Steel's Invictus. Arguably their finest hour. They did some really good stuff in the mid and late 90s. Nobody paid attention, which is a real shame. Some, of course, fans in Europe were wise to it, and some other folks here and there. But this album just has, such this, big triumphant feel to it, very defiant. It's a bit like if you're not familiar with this era of Virgin Steel, think classic Manowar and just make it feel like a little bit more operatic, a little more symphonic, tone down, just, the straight ahead power chords and work in a little bit more like classical piano flourishes and stuff. And you're in the right mindset. But yeah, it's a very angry album, very defiant album, tons of cool stuff on here. It's a pretty long album too. So when you put it on, you get your mileage out of this album when you're just driving along the interstate with the sun beating down on you. Love it to death. No telling how many hundreds of miles I have covered in the pickup back in the day, just spinning Invictus over and over again. It's not one that comes off the shelf as much at other times, I've noticed. But yes, anytime I've got to plan out a lot of hours on the road, this one's yep, that was always one of the go-tos. And I still think it could be their best album, even though it didn't get nearly as much attention as it deserved. So Virgin Steel, one of the definite road trip soundtrack albums for me.
I'm not too familiar with that one, but Noble Savage is some kind of a summer album for me as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Noble Savage is much earlier in their catalog, of course, but I'm always back and forth on that album. There are times I play it and I love it, and there are times I play it and it kind of just doesn't quite connect for me. It's always a back and forth album.
Yeah, there are some cheesy songs on it.
There are, yeah. They were very much sort of, finding their footing after, Jack Starr was left / kicked out of the band, and they were trying to develop that new direction that DeFay wanted to go into.
All right.
All right, Marty, turning it over to you.
Another 1990 slab. Megadeth's Rest in Peace. Tell you what, the year this came out, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it away. And it's one of those things. I know I see why Mustaine was bummed out. He got kicked out of Metallica, considering that band's rise to, where they are now. But this album for me pretty much trumps 90% of Metallica's catalog, just for sheer riffs alone. It's the guitar work on here is amazing. I can see the sticking point for a lot of people's Mustaine's vocals, but during this era, he's still on fire. He sounds great. It's unique. It fits this music well. There really isn't a song on here. Dawn Patrol maybe, but still, just the way leading up to Rust in Peace, Polaris, it's just such a minor thing. I don't know. This album rules. 1990, I'd been out of school for a very little bit here, and I just remember driving all over the place with friends at night, cranking this thing. Awesome. It's always a nostalgic piece for me. One of my favorite Megadeth records. It's no Jet City Woman, but yeah, it's pretty good. Jurgen.
Tornado of Souls has got that upbeat summertime feel.
Oh, Chromie wants to play some Summertime Girls, I think, with some Y&T. What's up, Chromie?
Yeah, but he's gonna break his own dishes because he's at home. So, maybe he's working and he's breaking the dishes in the cantina.
Yeah, don't break your dishes, Chromie. That doesn't work.
Okay.
You're up.
When I think of summer, I think of sitting in the woods because it's a little bit cooler there, and we are back to the wildfires. We always smoked a lot of dope in the woods back then, but don't worry, we didn't harm any forests. And
no forests were harmed in the making of this summertime memory.
And we had the car standing nearby and listening to a lot of Spiritual Beggars. So these two albums, these two summer albums, even the colors on the cover remind me of summer. Okay, Mantra 3 looks a little bit more like fall maybe, but this is perfect music for the summer. It's good times, stoner, blues rock, hard rock, metal with some Hammond organ. Great stuff. You always get in a good mood, even though the lyrics on these two albums are very depressing. But great summertime albums. I don't know if you're familiar with the older Spiritual Beggar stuff.
Heard of them, never heard them.
Yeah, don't know that one.
Really, the guitar playing on these two, you probably know that it's Mike Emmert's band.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and he's bringing out his Michael Schenker influences on these two. So great albums.
Awesome. All right, Alan.
All right, somebody in the chat just mentioned this band a couple of minutes ago. I think it maybe was Jack. And yeah, I had this pulled in the stack, so this is a good time to pull it out. It can't be summertime without a little bit of AC/DC. And for me, Power Age is the summertime album. Why? Well, in particular, I picked this one up in the summer of '94. I had been looking for a copy of it for quite a while, but this was an album that never, I don't know if it ever technically got an official US release back in the day, that you had to get it as an import. And it drove me nuts because, I knew one or two of the songs from it, that people had played for me. In particular, like Gone Shootin' and Sin City. And so, I would check, all these different AC/DC albums, whenever you'd find them in, bargain bins and stuff, never had those songs on them. So I was like, where the hell did these songs come from? I was almost wondering if they were like weird B-sides or something. And, eventually, in a record store one day, going through the, import CDs, they had this. I'm like, oh, there they are. So I had to pay import CD price for it, which, always kind of stank back in the day. But it had the songs on it, and it turns out it's got a lot of other great songs on it too. So this became a big part of the soundtrack that summer. That summer I was flipping hamburgers, doing fast food work quite a bit. So played this, sometimes, after hours, having to clean the place up once it was all closed down. And, just one fun memory with this particular album. One of the guys I worked with, his name was Jeff. Nice guy, got along with him really well. He was a huge AC/DC fan. He had one of those old little, like, cassette suitcase things that you would keep, cassettes in back in the day. And it was just jam-packed, with, all the different AC/DC tapes, 74 Jailbreak, Dirty Deeds, everything else. And, he had brought it in one night. It's like, what AC/DC y'all want to listen to while we mop up tonight? I was like, play Power Age. And he just looked at me. He's just like, what? I'm like, play Power Age. He's like, what? It took a few minutes, but he had actually never seen or heard of this album. I'm just like, so it was kind of an awkward conversation there for a couple of minutes while I had to explain to, the AC/DC fanatic that there's an AC/DC album that you apparently don't know about. Don't feel bad. I didn't know about it for a long time either. So, I had to, that night I went home, ran off a copy of this onto a blank tape for him and took it to him to work the next time. And it was like, handing mankind fire from the top of Mount Olympus for the first time. He's looking at it, it's just like, this is new AC/DC material I've never heard. It literally, he just got stuck. He's just like, oh my God, thank you. It just short-circuited him totally. That he had never come across the album, which, it was a pain in the ass to find back then. Again, we lived out in the sticks. There weren't many chances to go record shopping to begin with. But excellent album. Love a ton of the stuff on here. Give Me a Bullet. This is just, classic Bon Scott at his wittiest. Tons of, just fantastic lyrics throughout the album. Great tracks. And yes, very much a flipping hamburgers in the summer, mopping up floors and scraping grease off of, all the crap till about 3:30 in the morning kind of album for me.
Right on. Great album. I never talked about this one before. Awakening the World, Lost Horizon.
Point of order. Are you sure?
This is a new one. I just, no. Yeah. I mean, this is not only just a summertime album for me, it's a road trip album. It's a sitting around with friends, drinking beer and making them listen to this while I air guitar to it type of album. Perfect. Power metal mixed with speed metal. Love this stuff. And again, this is a windows down, driving around loud and, trying to sing along to this. Yes, Marty's got heat stroke for sure. And I'm pretty sure Jurgen wasn't in this band. Yeah, but you saw him though, right?
No.
No?
They never played in Germany.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
I don't. You gotta wonder if they ever played much of anywhere. I mean,
there's live footage of them online, but I don't know. You'd think they would have played Wacken or something. I don't know.
I can go back in the Wacken history, and I'm gonna tell you via email if maybe I saw them.
It was that part of the day where you weren't remembering much, is what the gist I'm getting of it here.
Do you think I remember that much of any Wacken festival?
Probably the first half of the day.
Yeah, before the band played at
you check it out, Ian. I'm going to keep showing it until you check it out. Damn it. What are you saying, Jurgen? I'm sorry.
I remember the first half of the day because we were sitting in front of our tents, yeah.
Right.
And just drinking beer.
Hey, did your girlfriend have a good time at that fest she was at here the other day?
Hmm?
You sad you didn't go?
What?
Are you sad you didn't go?
No.
It'll come back around.
They did a live stream. I was sitting on my couch having a beer, smoking a big fat cigarette, and watching the live stream.
Wow, you didn't have to pay that much for it, and you could go to the bathroom in a toilet that wasn't destroyed. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. All right.
I would have gotten in for free at the festival anyway, so because I know the organizers.
Right on.
And my girlfriend didn't go there for watching the bands. She worked there.
Right.
She was in the kitchen.
Awesome. Okay, you're up.
I think I'm gonna save some dishes in Canada.
Bail Chromie out. Make sure he doesn't have to eat off
the floor. Maybe some furniture.
There we go.
There it is. There you go, Chromie.
What a great live album. Very, very energetic. Just do yourself a favor. If you think they are wimps, listen to the opening of that concert or of that album. The song Open Fire and that energy on that album. I like the studio versions of the songs, but these versions on that live album, and I think it's hard to see. Look, they had a tank on stage.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that's how energetic they were.
Awesome.
And I've seen Dave Menninchetti play the Open Fire album live. It was not Y&T, it was just Dave Menninchetti with a no-name band. I've seen him play that album as it was released at a summer festival, of course.
Of course. Yep. All right.
So Chromie,
don't do it. Down off the ledge. Yep.
Yeah.
Jurgen saved your fine china.
Mm-hmm. And maybe some furniture.
All right, Alan.
And maybe your marriage.
Well, he's working on that. Yeah, hopefully that's all good. That's all good.
All right, let's see. What did I show last? Last was AC/DC. Okay, let's dip a little further outside the metal spectrum. This one was a huge album for me in like spring. Let me get this right. Spring 94 into summer 94. And I think the band had started to break big a little bit earlier, maybe like fall 93. But yeah, they carried over a lot into the spring. You could not go anywhere without hearing Gin Blossoms those seasons. A couple of big radio hits on this album. But it actually is a very, very good album. Folks have mentioned a few things earlier. Again, just for driving around summertime music with the windows rolled down and stuff. Gin Blossoms had kind of a very unique sound compared to a lot of the other stuff that was popular on MTV at the time. They weren't grunge, although they sometimes got lumped in with it, just guilt by temporal association. They weren't alternative rock. They certainly weren't heavy metal. They just had this kind of, I don't know if you wanted to call it back then desert rock or whatever, but their songs were really good at evoking that, just driving through the middle of Arizona or New Mexico kind of highways type music. They have a very kind of sad, melancholic vibe to a lot of the songs, especially on this album. Very well written lyrics, just a lot of really cool tunes. So yeah, this one it still hits all the right nostalgia bells for me. One of the main members, of course, left the band and I think ended up committing suicide only a few years later. So kind of a sad backstory to it. But the band has stuck around for a long time and actually made several good albums well into the 2000s. They never got much attention. The second album was considered, kind of a disappointment. They disappeared. But they have hung around. They've released things on small labels, and most of their albums are worth listening to. If you liked this one, there's really no reason you wouldn't like any of the other ones. Some of them have kind of dumb covers or dumb titles to them, but the music's always in that kind of same vein. They're very good at what they do. They do it well, and it's very evocative of spring and summer 1994 for me. So one of my more favorite non-metal bands, Gin Blossoms. A lot of cool stuff, to the point there's a special 2 or 3 CD deluxe version of this that I had purchased from an e-music subscription or something years ago, just to get the different cover songs and outtakes and stuff that they did with it. You see this in every used record store and used bookstore for just a couple of bucks, but it's an excellent album and shouldn't be overlooked or forgotten.
I've never even seen that. Never heard of that.
Okay,
but the melancholic songs. Think about that for a second. There's melancholic songs for the summer, and there's melancholic songs for fall or winter time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one definitely fits the summertime vibe. It doesn't make sense near as much in winter.
When you said melancholic, I immediately thought of a couple of songs on these 3 Bad Religion albums that I showed earlier. There's a lot of melancholic stuff on that, but it's summertime melancholic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's up, Jeff? All right. You know what? I don't know how much of a summertime band this is, but man, when this album came out in the years that followed it, I listened to this thing so much. It's like one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. Voivod, Dimension Hatros. In it, the cassette never left my vehicle. I drove around with this thing over and over and over and over and over. Never let it. It's always in, always listening to it. Not a bad. I mean, I could have lived without the Batman bonus track that's on the CD. It's not on the tape, not on the LP, but the Batman thing is kind of a anticlimactic ending to an otherwise perfect 10 out of 10 record.
It's a weird it's a weird thing to tack on to the end of that album.
It's so weird. It's like not at all part of the story, but Brain Scan, Tribal Convictions, Macro Solutions to Mega Problems. God, there is not a bad song on this record. This thing, it could be an any time of year album for me, but summertime, hey, why not? It was just an excuse to talk about an otherwise perfect record. So good. Perfect.
See, that's everybody has a different feeling about albums, and this one for me is more of a wintertime album because it's so complicated, and if my brain is already boiling from the heat outside, I can't listen to that.
Dimension Hatros? Huh.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'll take it anytime. I'll sing along with the whole thing too, from start to finish. But you're more of Angel Rat. Yep.
This is a summertime album.
Yep.
And of course, I had to pull out that one because it's
summer edition.
These 2 albums are not very complicated, not very off the charts, so to say. Especially Angel Rat. It's got a lot of sing-along stuff on it. Very, very memorable songs. Sometimes melancholic on that album, like Clouds in My House, for example. But I don't know. That is my go-to Voivod album, or these 2 are my go-to Voivod albums when it comes to summer.
I tell you what, when that Angel Rat came out, I was not happy. Not happy. It took years for me to come around. Now I love it, and I can't believe I didn't like it. But when it came out, I didn't want to hear rockin' proggy Voivod. I wanted Nothing Face was a kind of a writing on the wall that they're making changes, but man, it's just a grower for me. Did you like it instantly when you heard it, or did it grow on you? Have to grow on you for a bit too, Jurgen?
When this one came out, I listened to a lot of NoFX and Bad Religion and stuff like that, and the vocal melodies on that some kind of reminds me of that. Voivod has always been pretty punky, no matter
Oh,
how
sure. Yeah.
no matter how complicated they were, they had that punk feeling around them.
Agreed.
Still had it on that one. Just listen to the first song. Damn it, I forgot the title. Panorama. It instantly reminded me of a Bad Religion song for some reason.
I never would come to that conclusion, but I guess I can see that. That makes sense.
So I was into that album as soon as it came out.
Huh. Nice.
So these are my two Voivod.
Right on.
Summer edition albums.
Yeah.
By the way, this is an original, and everybody who wants to buy an original of that, I'm gonna charge you €1,000.
Wow. Yeah. Did that come with the glasses?
No.
It didn't? Huh.
Nope.
My tape copy came with the glasses, the 3D glasses.
Yeah, it was only the CD.
Huh.
Never the vinyl, because the cover has these colors, and the CD that came with the glasses had this 3D look.
3D. Yeah, my tape was 3D too, and it comes. The glasses are only like this big, enough to fit into a tape case. But yeah, it's cool. All right, Alan.
All right, jump to another summer later on. I think it was summer 2006. I got assigned to fly out to Caltech and work in one of their labs for 3 weeks. A couple of professors were working on a project together, sort of, and so I got volunteered to go, be the East Coast representative in this, really effed up collaboration. It went absolutely nowhere. It was one of those situations you could kind of tell as soon as you got there, it just wasn't going to work. You're talking like, you get there, I talk to the main guy, and you can just kind of tell he's just like, I'm talking to you, but I'm really not interested in talking to you, and I'm too busy doing this other thing, so I'm going to pawn you off on these people who have not been part of the conversation before, and you don't know them, and they don't know you. And this just isn't, this is only going to go downhill from here. So, yeah, I kind of wasted 3 weeks, camped out, at Caltech in the middle of the summer, trying to, run all this geochemical equipment. Just, to put it in, simple terms, how messed up it was. We were supposed to be going there to process samples to run on a very specific instrument. They didn't bother to tell us on the East Coast that the instrument was broken. So I get there with all this stuff, all these supplies, we're getting this stuff ready. And it's like, okay, you guys going to let me run it? So it's like, we're tweaking the machine. You can run it tomorrow. Sure. Next day, hey, got this stuff ready. Shall I run it today? Now we're kind of tweaking the machine. You can run it tomorrow. I'm just like, what exactly are you tweaking? And they explain it to me like, you're not tweaking it, you're fixing it. Your machine's broken. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. I have worked in a stable isotope mass spectrometer lab facility before. What you are describing is a broken machine. Have you called the technician from, you have to call, these are like, $250,000 instruments. You don't just sit there and poke them with a screwdriver until they work. When this thing fucks up, you go call the company, they send a technician from Germany, maybe one of Jurgen's neighbors, I don't know.
Just down the road.
And they have to fly out and they'll work, it will take you 2 or 3 days of repairs and then it will work. You ain't putting this thing back together yourselves. Oh, but it's not broken. I'm like, yes, it is. I basically had to argue with these people for 2 weeks before they would finally admit their machine was broken. And it was all just about this kind of weird Ivy League BS attitude where there's like, but we're Caltech. Our equipment doesn't break. It just needs tweaking. I'm like, screw you guys. You're completely wasting my time. So I did what I could. Like, I'll make the best of a bad situation. I'll process as much as I can, have everything lined up. If they ever actually do what they're supposed to and get it running, then I can plow these things through the machine really fast. In the meantime, since I'm not going to be able to run this machine at night like I'm supposed to, I'm going to walk, to downtown Pasadena, check out restaurants, and oh, hey, there's a big Tower Records there. And so I'm going to pick up some things and just walk around and listen to stuff. One of the albums that ended up being the soundtrack to this whole messed up trip that I've just described was this thing, Dragon Force's Sonic Firestorm. Because when you're dealing with a bunch of stuck-up pricks who can't even admit that their own equipment is broken, and you're sitting there kind of grinding your teeth, you want something fast, but you also want something kind of powerful and on the positive side, where you can just say, fuck this, let's have some fun, and just play as fast as you can, make it as triumphant as you can, because I'm dealing with a bunch of jerks, and we're going to just make this fun despite all of you guys being unable to pull your heads out of your asses. And Sonic Firestorm, yeah, still my favorite Dragon Force album. Played it just over and over and over while, constantly, again, having to splice this whole project together on the fly because none of these people had thought it through or taken the time to, do the steps they should have done for something very, very basic. So yeah, still a fun album and still, very much a summertime album. This is, one to play when you got a lot of work to do, stuff's got to get done and it's not working quite right. You don't just force it, you Dragon Force it to work. Long setup to make that work there at the end.
Jason's got a good question for you.
Who's that?
Alan, you ever break some super expensive equipment and pretend that you didn't?
No. It's not broken. It just needs tweaking.
Right. All right.
Okay. One thing about your broken machine, it probably won't have been my neighbor that would have come. It probably would have been me. If you call the company. I would have pulled out a screwdriver and pocket a little bit more, do it like that, and then fly home. And got paid for it.
Right. All right. I'm up next. This is, I don't know if this is summertime or not, but I sure as hell spun it a lot in the summertime because I could not let this record go for a long time after it came out. That was King Diamond's Them. A little more upbeat. It's a thriller type of story, supernatural in scope, but songs like Welcome Home and Mother's Getting Weaker, Bye Bye Missy, Twilight Symphony, they're all kind of upbeat, kind of ripper songs. I mean, the music is very melodic and upbeat, but this was another drive around all over the place and listen to it.
Song about your sister being killed and possessed and stuff like that. Yeah, it's real happy, uptight.
Well, the music is very melodic and has a, I don't know.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's a, I wanted to think. I was like, yeah, that's a real perky kind of album.
Right.
Fucking with you, and your sister's dead in the oven, and yeah, fun, happy times in the summer.
Fun, happy times. You got the invisible orange out the window trying to sing along with the falsetto. Fun stuff. Good times. Jurgen.
So, summertime was, like Alan said before, the time where you got a little bit of work, where you got some pocket money and save up. And by the end of the summer, we always placed orders with No Remorse Records, not the Greek label that is running right now, but No Remorse was the old German label.
Mm-hmm.
So, end of summer 1988, I ordered the Follow the Blind album from No Remorse Records.
Mm.
And they sent me this little promo. Heaven's Gate, No Control, and Tyrants were the songs on that one.
Very cool.
So I listened to it, and I immediately placed another order to get the full album. Have you ever heard it?
Their marketing worked.
Mm-hmm.
free 7-inch, you end up getting a full sale out of you.
The marketing worked even back in the 80s. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, that's a cool album.
Heard that?
Jurgen. Yes.
Marty.
Very good stuff.
I've never heard it. Nope, never heard it.
I think it would be right up your alley. It's German, speedy heavy metal. Very
the heavy metal fedora. I like that fedora on the back there. That dude in the fedora is pretty. Is that the bass player?
Yes, of course.
Of course it is. It's always the bass player in the fedora. What the hell? Wow.
So that was the old No Remorse label.
Right on. Heaven's Gate. Check it out.
Heaven's Gate. Their first couple of albums are really good. Their second full-length album, Living in Hysteria, also very much worth checking out. Checking it out. If you like the Keepers era, Halloween, this is a must-have. I don't know if they ever re-released that stuff on.
There's a box set called Boxed that has the first album and all the early EPs, but it doesn't have the second album in it. Just the EPs and that. And I think it had a few new songs on an EP, but it was all acoustic. It was literally like lounge music because they got kind of weird later on. Yeah,
right. The first two albums and the EP that came between it, Marty, you need to know that.
I'll check it out. So was it you that was showing Chroming
Rose?
Chroming Rose is another Halloween-ish type of band.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Chroming Rose, the first album, Louis XIV.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
Great album.
Louis XIV. Yep. Haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of not a lullaby. What is when you sing children's songs? A little bit like that. But very speedy, very melodic. Great voice. The singer in Chroming Rose was in a band called Stranger, and the first Stranger album called The Bell is also it's an all-time underrated German metal classic. So Marty, you should write it down.
Chroming Rose.
Yep. Yeah, Chroming Rose and Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah. For me, Chroming Rose was always maybe like it was Halloween, maybe a little bit lighter overall. And Heaven's Gate is German power metal leaning a little bit more towards, just the more traditional metal vibe. But, really good when they play fast. They just don't do every song fast.
Yeah, it was nursery rhymes, yeah.
Nursery rhymes, yeah.
Ryan, I see your groove is in the heart, and I raise you a Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell for a earworm. Now that you got that in my head, I'll share that with you. Alan, you're up.
Oh, well, this was going to come up sooner or later, so this is the perfect time for it. Heaven's Gate, Living in Hysteria, very much a summertime album for me. The deal with this one, why I think of it as a summertime album, this is another one I had to special order, and it took bloody forever to arrive. I don't know where I ordered it from. It was I want to say it was someplace on the East Coast, maybe Maryland, Baltimore, Mid-Atlantic distro. And it took like a couple of months to arrive. Ridiculously long, even for the late 90s. But yeah, I ordered this not when it came out. I ordered it in the summer of 97 because I was living in a small apartment in Texas. And the day it finally arrived, I had stayed home from work because I was just puking my guts out sick. I got some kind of stomach bug, like food poisoning or something. So I'd been up half the night and all morning just puking everywhere. And finally had gotten it under control. Was getting a couple hours of sleep. And then they rang or knocked at the door. And I kind of staggered out to open it. I'm sure I looked like just death warmed over opening the door. And they're just like, package. Just like, sure, thanks. I barely registered what it was, but I looked. I was like, I'll be damned. Those things have finally arrived. I'd ordered 2 CDs. The other one, odd thing to pair with it, was Immortals Battles in the North. And then this one by Heaven's Gate. I had heard a lot about this band in the Sentinel Steel fanzine, but had never been able to track their stuff down. So yeah, eventually ordered it. And yeah, really great German album. The fast songs are really good. The songs that are more mid-paced are still very catchy, very anthemic. Let me find the picture here. Yeah, this fellow, one of the guitarists, Sasha Paith, has gone on to be one of the big power metal producers over the year. Him and Sasha and Miro do all the production for bands like Camelot. The albums just always sound, spectacular, crystal clear, perfect sound production. So even though Heaven's Gate never really got there as a band, he still has had a big career in the music industry and done quite well for himself. But yeah, like Jurgen was saying, these first 2 albums, the one he showed and this one, fantastic German heavy metal stuff. The third album is called Hell for Sale, and it's not bad, but they start to lean a little more bluesy almost.
Yeah.
And after that, they really kind of start to get a little bit out of the heavy metal orbit, and just they have. I think there's one more album where they're you almost feel like they're just kind of dicking around a bit, doing some different experimental stuff for fun. And that was about it. But yeah, the early the early Heaven's Gate stuff is really good if you like German power metal.
Isn't Sasha the guitar player? Isn't he the songwriter for all the Avantasia stuff?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a hand pretty deep in Avantasia, but I don't know for sure.
I think he's the composer, at least for the early stuff. I think he still is.
Could be, yeah. I'd have to go back and check. It would make sense. That's very much the kind of project that would have. Yeah, kind of has his names all over it.
And their singer Thomas, Heaven's Gate singer Thomas he has an awesome voice.
Yeah.
And he did an album with a band called Steel Tower before Heaven's Gate.
Oh, I forgot all about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is also
there was a Steel Tower connection.
Awesome stuff, yeah. And I was surprised to see. So your CD copy is a German import.
Yeah, it was the only way to get it at the time. But yeah,
it still got the
sticker.
I don't pay no more. That was a campaign, and they sold all these CDs for. It was still Deutschmark, so in euros it would be 3 euros, something like that.
3 euros.
Yeah.
It cost a bit more than that to import it back to Texas in 1997. But yeah, Sentinel Steel, they had talked this band up quite a bit over the first few albums. But and it was funny because usually when Sentinel Steel hyped something, he would get it in his own distro. And he had never been able to get much Heaven's Gate material even to sell himself. So I ordered. I wish I remembered the name of the place I ordered it from, but yeah, it took bloody forever for that package to arrive. But it finally did in the summer, and thus it was part of the summer soundtrack for the rest of the year.
Awesome.
Over to you then, Marty.
Heaven's Gate, more crap, and Chroming Rose, more crap I need to track out. Thanks. Groove is in the heart, still in my head. Ryan, you did me dirty. Your grooves, though, I so deeply dig. Anyway. Man, God, I look. Omen, Warning of Danger. It's just U.S. power metal, working man's metal with one of the best singers ever. I love J.D. Kimball's voice. I think I talked about him last week on here too. Doesn't matter. It deserves, the first 3 in particular deserve retelling. The songs on here are great. First 3 albums are great. This might be my favorite. I go back and forth between the first 3 a lot, but
they're all solid.
Oh my God. Let me see here. Warning of Danger, Ruby Eyes of the Serpent. Oh my God. Cut out the hearts of the children. Let their life's blood slowly fade away with that bluesy croon that JD had. Oh my God. So good. This is another crank it as loud as I could on my crappy GMC Jimmy car stereo, and that I had to MacGyver into my. Anyway, it worked. It was so good, so loud. Love this album so much. This is good summertime driving around tunes. It's good driving around anytime tunes, to be honest. All right.
Whenever I hear J.D. Kimball sing, the one word that comes to my mind is smooth.
He's so smooth.
Yep.
He's got such a bluesy croon to him, man. It's Omen are all Four Seasons legends. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And I saw them. I saw a reunited Omen at the there was the Classic Metal Fest. The dude from Attacker put it on. It was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Mm-hmm. I went to the first show of that. Saw our buddy King play Deceased and October 31. Bunch of awesome bands. Omen played with their singer that was singing pretty close to JD. He wasn't perfect, but it was enough to it was fun to hear those songs live, even though it wasn't JD. It was still cool. And there was also they were called Order of the Illuminati, but it was basically Agent Steel without John Cyrus.
Oh, right.
And that guy singing sounded awesome too. That was pretty awesome too. I saw a lot of really killer bands at that show. Anyway,
for the Order of Illuminati, wasn't it that guy from Steel, not Sacred Steel, not Steel Vengeance? Damn it.
I thought it had
it's not coming back.
Bernie and let me look up here. I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah, me too.
Agent Steel Metal that I think it had hold on one second. It had Juan Garcia was in guitars and Bernie Versailles, I believe, were on guitar.
Mm-hmm. But who was the singer?
It was, hold on, I'll tell you. I think it was the same guy that was on Omega Conspiracy, and that was
okay.
Bruce Hall, who was in Psychosis, By Our Hand, and Trust the Voices. Oh wait, Psychosis. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. He was in other bands. Steel Prophet.
Steel Prophet, yeah.
Steel Prophet. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. He was great. I was surprised. He served up the Cirrus stuff quite authentically. I was impressed. Mm-hmm. I might have said "fuck yeah" a couple times in between songs. You know, gotta let him know. Good job.
4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. Somebody's going to get that.
I didn't get it.
That's okay. Doesn't have to be you.
All right, Jurgen, you're up.
Okay, this next one might be a little bit unusual for summertime music, but Negative Gain, Back from the Dead.
That's a cool cover.
Huh.
This is hardcore punk from the mid 80s, and we were 13, 14 years old. I bought my first guitar, and the first couple of songs I learned were from this album. Nobody knew these songs, but we tried to cover it back to front in our practice room when we were kids, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So very, very fast. This is a great album. Nobody ever talks about it. I bought that as a US import, and I had the same problem as you. It took ages to get here, and the record itself was not really expensive, but the shipping.
I like the comments here. Jason hooks me like, yeah, that ruled. And the next comment is Simon, that looks like a Jason Hook quarter.
There you go, Negative Gain, Back from Dead. If you ever come across that one, do check it out if you like fast and pretty primitive hardcore music.
I'll have to keep that one in mind. Yeah, I've never seen that one. That's cool.
Was that Poshmark? No, I don't think so. The back cover is pretty funny.
That's good. That's awesome too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Great little record. Oh, look at the label. Okay, okay.
Postmort.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, there you go.
All right.
A little unknown gem from US hardcore.
Nice.
You're getting Hook all excited in the chat here, I think. Although he was pissed he missed Bad Religion, I think. Okay, Alan.
Yeah, and maybe he missed Bon Jovi as well.
Yep. He went from Bad Religion to Bon Jovi. Just saying, Jason. So don't get too excited.
Could it be Bon Religion? Just kind of blend the two somehow.
Yeah. Maybe Bad Jovi.
Bad, I think most it would be Bad Jovi.
Bad Jovi.
All right, let's go back to flipping hamburgers in the summers of '94 once again. Folks have been mentioning a few Southern rock kind of things in the chat, and I agree. A lot of Southern rock works quite well as summertime music. One that we played almost nightly when we were pulling the graveyard shift flipping burgers was this one, Charlie Daniels Band, Decade of Hits. So most of the tracks you would expect, from his kind of main years, obviously way outside the normal heavy metal spectrum. But yeah, this was just another one you could put it on, and everybody who was working that night didn't mind listening to it. Me and the headbangers in the back, that's cool. We can dig that. The cute manager gal who I went to high school with, it was actually her cassette tape that we were playing most nights. The girls that worked, the cash registers up front, because they were a lot less scary than the guys back in the kitchen that they kept hidden behind, the broiler. They liked this too. So yeah, we played this almost nightly for an entire summer. Lots of fun tracks on it. Charlie Daniels, at that era, was very good at that kind of storytelling, spinning tales throughout the songs, and it worked quite well. Got to see him play live once. The band, it was much later at a state fair. The band was very good. Unfortunately, by that time, he had found religion, and so he was changing some of the lyrics here and there. He was taking out like all the pot references and stuff and replacing them with other words. And in between songs, he wanted to ramble about politics and stuff like that. And it's just like, look, half the people here already agree with you, and the other half just want to hear you play songs. So I don't know what you're accomplishing, but it was still kind of cool to get to see him play once before he passed away. A fun, Southern rock album that will always remind me of scraping grease off of stainless steel kitchen surfaces until the wee hours of the night while drunks come through the drive-thru wanting to know, y'all serving breakfast yet? No. Okay, I'll take an Egg McMuffin. A, we ain't serving breakfast yet, and B, you at the wrong restaurant. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I need 2 Egg McMuffins. Go the fuck away. We've already called the cops and they've pulled in behind you. Have fun getting your license revoked for driving drunk on a Saturday night. With Charlie Daniels playing in the background. When you put it that way, it doesn't sound like a fun summer, but it actually was a very, very fun summer.
Okay, Alan, now I know you were that guy that phoned up the cops that cost me my driver's license.
Jurgen, how many times did I tell you we're not serving breakfast yet? You can't order the McGriddle until 6 a.m. It's 3:30 a.m. We're still on the dinner menu. If you'd like a Big Mac or a Whopper or some fries, I'll hook you up. But after 3 or 4 times, it's just like, fuck this guy. You're going to jail.
I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Words to live by. Wise choice.
I think it was Pretux here. This comment got me thinking, and man, he's totally right. Except for me, it would have been Pyromania. This was a summertime jam for me, 100%.
It all depends on how old. It depends on your exact age as to which Def Leppard album is your summertime jam.
This was my first time hearing Def Leppard. Was this, and it was because the photograph video on MTV. But Billy's Got a Gun. I mean, there's just like a sweltering atmosphere to this album. I don't know. It's got a little humidity to it. So this to me is a summertime jam for sure. Not a bad song on here. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of songs that have been, Rock Till You Drop. That's the opening track. I don't know. That could have been later. But I don't know. There's a lot of popular songs on here that were tried to be, that people tried to kill from playing it so many times. But this album for me holds up a lot. I really like it. My favorite Def Leppard. I like the first three. Second, 2 and 3 the most. But good summertime album for sure. Love it. Good stuff.
Yep. Yeah, if somebody's a year or two older than you, Marty, they're going to pick High and Dry. And like me being just a couple years younger than you, I'm going to pick Hysteria.
Hysteria, yep.
You can tell exactly how old somebody is if they were a child of the 80s based on which Def Leppard album was the soundtrack to their teenage years.
Yep. All right, Jurgen. Oh, everybody's getting punny in the...
Aaron, I have to agree. That first Def Leppard album, like that, a lot of people like it. I just can't get into that one.
I like it, but it's weird. It's not the same band. It's just not the same band. It's a new wave of British heavy metal album,
but it's not a good one. It's trying. They're already trying very hard not to be new wave of British heavy metal, and they've got a few of their old songs on there, so it feels a little new wave of British heavy metal at times. But most of the songs are already like they're already trying to do this to the new wave of British heavy metal. Just like we're not with those guys. It's like, screw you. You're too cool to be associated with the scene that you were a part of. Nice. Nice. Well played. I guess it worked out for them in the end, but, still.
I remember seeing the Me and My Wine video on Much Music back in the day and liked that. I liked that song in that video. It was a fun, cheap, low-budget video. Good stuff.
Yeah. Wasted is really good. There's a couple other Get Your Rocks Off is really good, but they had better versions of those songs, a year earlier. So there's still that problem too.
All right, Jurgen.
So maybe another album that is not expected to be shown by me. Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger.
Awesome.
I love that album.
Yeah,
great album.
I like the stuff they did before that. I hate the stuff they did after that. Even what was that? Super Unknown.
Yeah.
Is this song Fell on Black Days on that on Super Unknown? Because that's a really good song. That's really good song.
It also has Black Hole Sun, which
sucks
the energy out of that
album.
album.
Fuck off forever for that song. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ugh.
One has some really, really weird stuff. It has some memorable stuff. What I thought about when I put that from the collection, is it a different version? It's the A&M version that came out here in Germany. So
it's a very different color scheme than the U.S. pressing. The U.S. pressing is more like gray and kind of a maroon. And I'll get my copy and show you. But yeah, it's a completely different color scheme.
Yeah, no, it's not the camera. No. Aaron, it looks like that. What I thought about it, maybe it's the Jesus Christ Pose video that gets the connection to the summer because it was filmed in the desert, or the Outshine video, which is, funny enough, it's... Alan shows the CD cover, and the CD looks exactly the same, but the LP press is just how it came out.
Weird.
The Outshine video has fire in it. It has a sweat in it.
Yep.
Maybe that is what connects it to summertime for me. I don't know, but I really, really like that album.
Yeah.
And I know they have been on tour with Guns N' Roses during summertime.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. As an album that was, commercially successful it's a very heavy album.
Yeah,
there's a lot of really heavy riffs.
Weird riffs. Yeah.
Yeah, weird, but yeah. Outshined has some very heavy riffs to it. Room 1,000 Years Wide is one of the deep tracks on there that's just really, I mean, it's not heavy metal, but it is very heavy stuff, and it works so well. But yeah, and yeah, it does have, you're right there too, Jurgen. It has a very weird side to it also. The one song with all the spoken intro part where you go, the rooster says, whoa, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on here?
All right, Alan, you are back.
All right. Here's another one that is very much summertime driving soundtrack. This was a big one for commuting for a long time, but also for any longer road trips that came up. I could have picked almost any Social Distortion album, but I picked this one. Which is
that band has never clicked with me, ever.
I love this band.
Oof.
Nah, this one I dig. And I get why some people don't. It's a weird kind of sound, and it's not going to appeal to everybody because it's like this weird punk meets Johnny Cash combo, which is strange, but for whatever reason, it works for me. Mike Ness is just, very good at what he does. He's got that sound nailed down. All these albums, like, White Light, White Heat, White Noise, this one, what's the one before that? Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. Maybe getting the title wrong. But yeah, I can totally dig, any of these albums. Again, it's, got enough, of that punk energy, a little bit of that guitar screech and feedback to it to make it interesting. But yeah, it's got, this, very unique take too, where it's not just, straightforward punk or hardcore whatsoever. Always wanted to see him live with the classic lineup, never got to. But really cool stuff, scattered off, most of their albums. Even some of the, their very early stuff, coming out of the SoCal hardcore scene in the early 80s. It's certainly not bad with like Mommy's Little Monster and stuff. I've revisited those albums like, yeah, this is better than I remembered it from the first time I heard it. I think it's something that I wasn't ready to hear the first time I experienced some of that. But this era of the band, once Mike Ness had, of course, gone to prison, got released, and kind of reinvented the band, with a new direction, and it just clicked. It's really good driving music, a lot of laid back tunes, some rockers. It's always mixed up together well, so it keeps you interested throughout it. Gotta like it. I recently picked up one of the live albums from around this era. I think the live album came out right before this studio album, if I remember right. And it's got, lots of good banter from Mike Ness throughout in between the tracks and everything. Good live takes on lots of the songs. Yeah, cool band. I get it if some folks, aren't into them, but I can definitely dig Social Distortion most of the time. And very good for summer listening.
Hey, Alan, Laz wants to know if your Shogun Warrior Godzilla Fire Tongue still works.
It does. It absolutely does. I'll go get it, and I will go get it and demonstrate.
Excellent. We will wait here patiently. Everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. Awesome. It's good to see everybody. Hope you're having fun. Where's his fist, though? I don't want to know where that ended up.
It ended up in somebody's ass.
Rocket launching hand. The rocket launching hand also works. I just don't keep it loaded in there because I don't want it to compress the string and mess with it. But the other hand, you put it in there, you push the button, and it will knock down anything made out of wooden blocks, Legos, put your little sister's eye out. Yeah, this is 1979 Bandai kind of shit. There weren't no safety regulations. That fist comes out of there and it packs a punch.
Classic Zilla, indeed. All right.
I love it. Fun backstory. Since we're having a fun topic, this did not come from Santa Claus in December of 1979 at first. This was the hot toy for 4 and 5 year olds. December 79, December 80.
Wow, Cabbage Patch Kids really came a long way.
Cabbage Patch Kids. We were years before Cabbage Patch Kids. But anyway, so yes, this was the only thing I asked Santa for. As a 4 or 5 year old, it was under the tree. Went nuts. Was playing with it. The Christmas night. And swear to God, was playing with it, very carefully. I had one of the big Shogun Warriors, Dwayne, one of the big, like 3-foot ones. They were battling, but they were battling, carefully. I was not rough with them. And yet I went to activate the flame tongue, and the handle snapped off. I mean, I'm 4 years old. It's not like I hit it hard or anything. It snapped off, and I freaked. At first, I was scared Mom and Dad, were going to be mad at me because it was broken. I was just like, I remember sobbing. She's like, I didn't push it hard. I didn't push it hard. I didn't push it hard. I didn't mean to break it. And they're looking at me, and I'm looking at it. My Santa toy is broken. I am, completely, beyond hope at this point. And Mom's like, well, it's okay. What we can do is we put it back under the tree tonight with a note to Santa explaining what happened, and he might be able to bring you another one. I'm just like, what? What you talking about, Mom? I don't know this particular piece of lore about claws. Explain, where is this at in the handbook? She's like, it's a thing. It can happen because I saw you weren't playing with it rough. I saw you. I believe you. It was probably already cracked. He didn't know. Probably one of the elves sat on it or something. Put it under the tree tonight. Write a little note. I hope you write the note because you don't know how to write because you're only 4 years old. And we'll see if Santa can bring another one in a night or two. You may have to leave it there 1 or 2 nights. And so I did. We gently put it back under the tree. We wrote a nice little note. Dear Santa, I'm so sorry. I did not break it. I swear I was careful. Can you please bring me another one? December 26th come. Still sitting there. Mom's like, it's okay. Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Give him time. He just got home last night. He's probably a little tired. Give it a day. I was like, I'm trusting you. You're my only hope, Mom. Morning of December 27th. This guy's sitting there brand new in the box with a fire-breathing tongue button that 43 years later still works. Don't know which of them had snuck out of the house the next day. I think it was Dad. I think she sent Dad on this particular hell patrol. Because again, there's no toy stores where we grew up. He probably had to drive over an hour to some place like Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and fight through all the freaking post-holiday mob at the mall and try to find another one of these suckers to bring home and hide and get back out that night.
Plus, it's after Christmas, so chances are he was probably out everywhere.
Yeah, there's no telling how many places he had to check in, but Santa brought another one on the night of December 26th, the morning of December 27th, and he still sits here on the shelf back there to this day.
There you go.
There you go. That's how it's done.
Good stuff. All
right, I want to put Godzilla away while y'all move on to the next one, because it's not my turn, is it?
Nope.
Because I've totally messed up the running order here, and I apologize for it.
Do you want me to bring out my toys?
If you want to. This episode is sponsored by Adam and Eve.
No. Actually made out of plastic and leather, and this episode is going to be deleted.
Deleted, yes. Jurgen's deep ass auger 5000.
Yeah, I can show you where Godzilla's fist went.
Got it right here.
It's a Saint Anger fist. Anyway.
Look! It's not really green anymore. It's got a brownish tone on it.
No, it's just the paint's worn off on that one nail.
All right. There are sex toys, and then there are German sex toys. Yep. All righty then. I don't know if this is a summertime album, but there's an uplifting quality to this record that I really like, and it just feels like a summertime record to me. It's The Gathering, Mandelion. Love Annika's vocals. You got Strange Machines. Santa Mercury is kind of a sad song. I don't know what I'm thinking here, but I just there's an uplifting quality to Annika's vocals. I initially picked this one, but then I realized there's stuff on here that makes me kind of cry. So I don't know, but it's like just because it's so well written and beautiful. But this is kind of a fun time one for me. I like it. Nighttime Birds is another one that I really love as well, but it's a little more melancholic undertones to it. But this was her first album with The Gathering. Turned this band around for me. I've heard their early stuff. It's good, but they transformed into something special with this, with her. And saw them live once. Alan saw them. We were at the same show together.
Yep.
Oh my God, it was amazing. So good.
Yeah. But it was so funny that she had this just very petite little girl singer
in like a sparkly dress.
In a sparkly dress, and you had the room just packed with all these very grizzled headbangers, and she had the entire room eating out of the palm of her hand.
Yep.
The entire time that I watched. And I missed the beginning of their set, but the rest of the time, I mean, everyone was just like just swaying back and forth.
Yep.
So
it was amazing
to see that band. Yeah.
I've seen them on that tour again, and it was all the same here in Germany. They toured with Crematory and Moonspell and Samael, and nobody expected them to get that crowd response.
Yeah. Yep. They had it. It was just perfect time and good songs and the right voice. I don't know. She just had a sparkling personality about her that, like you said, let's be honest. Metal is 85% dudes, right?
Only 85%.
Well, I'm being generous.
Rounding down.
Yeah. It's and her talent just stands out, and of course she's beautiful as well, and her talent makes her even more beautiful. So I mean, yeah, I get it.
And she seems to have a nice personality because she's always smiling.
Yep.
From ear to ear.
I believe her husband is a drummer for Celestial Season. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, the ex-drummer. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, cool.
I thought about bringing out the How to Measure a Planet album. I actually thought about that, but yeah, like you said,
the second disc, man. Oh my God, the song about Mozart or whatever, that song, it makes me cry every time. It's so good. So good.
Yeah, but there you go again. You pull out The Gathering as a summer album. There's a lot of melancholy in Anarchy era Gathering.
Yep.
But this album fits for summertime. Strange Machines is such a primitive riff.
Yeah. Yep,
but
it is.
As soon as the riff sets in, it grabs you by the balls. Yeah.
100%.
So
that's a good way of classifying that riff. It's primitive. It's just down pick. It's just a primitive riff. Yep.
But it's great.
It's great. It's so great.
Yeah, Treble is another fantastic song.
Yep.
So my next two, we are going back to the new wave of British heavy metal. The new wave of British heavy metal brought a lot of uplifting albums. So I had these two on tape. So I don't know which one was side A or side B, but these two will always be my favorite by these two bands.
Oh,
so
cool.
Wiped Out for Raven and Tigers of Pantang Spellbound. Great. Like I said, uplifting stuff that gets you in a good mood. You can sing along to that. Well, this is not really primitive, but it's memorable songwriting. You can easily sing along to it. Raven are more on the funny side, so to say, but Tigers of Pantang, there's not a bad song on that album. I came about this Tigers album in maybe 88, 89, something like that, because Creator covered Gangland.
Oh, that okay. I didn't realize that was a I didn't realize that was a Tigers of Pantang song. Derp. I never realized it. I just thought it was a weird Creator song. I never read the insert apparently.
Gangland is the opening track for the album.
Huh.
And I didn't think about that, but Creator also covered a Raven song, not from that album, but from the first one. They covered Lambs to the Slaughter.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good Tigers album. It was kind of a controversial Tigers album because it was the first with John Deverell. They had kicked Jess Cox kind of out of the band in a way, wanted a better vocalist. And so, yeah, kind of there was a bit of a split in the fan base over the change in vocalist.
Let's talk about Raven for a second. I'm curious, Jurgen, when Raven plays Europe, what kind of reception do they get?
When they play festivals, it's packed. I saw them at Summer Breeze or some summer festivals, and there's always when we've got a 10,000 people festival, there's always 5,000 there to watch the band. When they get on tour and they play single shows, I think it's almost the same as in the US. 50, maybe if it's on a weekend, it's 150, something between that.
Because I mean, that band rips. They rip. They're really good. They're unique. They're still kicking ass. And I think last year they came through the US. I watched some stuff online. And there's like nobody there. It's like the Ultimate Revenge. I mean, that lineup on the Ultimate Revenge 2, where Raven's a headliner, they had no business being on that bill. And there's no one there watching them. It's just like, I gotta applaud that band for their perseverance and their love for what they do, because it can only be broken down because it isn't. I mean, I think they get respect because they're talented. And they've been around forever, but it doesn't seem to bother them that they're not where they should be. You know, they're just a weird band. It's a weird band. I don't get it. Why people don't really connect with them. The people that love them really love them, but yeah, I was just wondering if it was the same in Europe as here. Cause the live stuff I've seen, it looks like a half empty club. It's a bummer. It's a bummer.
And when they are on tour, they don't play short tours. They always play long tours.
Yeah.
Huh.
Here and here in Europe or in the US, it's always not only 5 to maybe 10 shows. It's always 20, 25, 30 shows. And they always give 100%.
They do. And they're great. At this point, they're starting to be old bastards and still sing, and they can still rip. I mean, it's great, and they give it when they play. It doesn't matter if there's 20 people in the crowd; they're doing their thing, and that's thumbs up. Totally good.
Yeah, Marty, I wonder how much some of those bad Atlantic albums still kind of haunt them and hurt them in terms of the American audience, because a lot of the U.S. didn't hear them
until
early on. It wasn't until they had some of those later albums that were pretty.
Stay Hard and the Pack is Back. I bought them right around the same time, and they were my first connection. That was the first time I ever heard Raven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a lot of people, it was the last time they heard Raven because they didn't like those albums. Some of them are kind of weak, and you have the goofy athletic rock pictures and stuff. Obviously, that was a long time ago, but for a lot of people, that may be still kind of their lasting and only impression of Raven. I don't know. Just pondering out loud.
Yeah, look. Even in Australia, Simon said Raven came to Australia and played a free show at a pizza bar to 30 people. Free show. Sorry.
Oh no. Then there's there's kind of from Tim, kind of what I was thinking too. That some of those albums there didn't do them any favors. It was the classic story of you finally make it, you get signed to the big label, and it all goes to shit.
But their first 3 rip. I mean, they're great records. They're really good. I don't listen to them a lot, but when I put them on, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, even the new stuff is great.
I haven't heard anything in a while. I think Life's a Bitch is the latest I've heard by them.
Life's a Bitch is a brilliant album.
It's a good album. Yeah.
It is. And the one that came after it, no, two after it, the with the Black Raven in the front, Architects of Fear, I think. Fantastic album. You mentioned the Atlantic years. I think the European crowds are a little bit more forgiving.
Makes sense.
Yeah. European crowds too. They. I wish some of that, the way the Europeans treat metal, would spill over here into the U.S. I mean, we got fans. Don't get us wrong, but don't get me wrong, but Europe, it's been nurtured in Europe. Plus all the festivals. I mean, shit. Germany has what, 10 festivals a year? I mean, Europe is built for this crap. I mean, everybody can come in a short period of miles to go to these big shows. And if you're a band, I think you have more opportunity in Europe than you do here.
Even if you want to go over to Greece or Italy or something like that for a summer festival, we have to travel maybe less miles than if you want to go to a show within the US.
Yeah.
So I think when I would go to an Italian show, let me just count that in miles. It's about 400 to 600 miles.
Wow. How long of a drive is that, hours wise?
6 hours, 7 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
Because we have our Autobahn.
Yeah, you go as fast as you want.
German
Right.
highway. We can, when it works. I like to drive at night because I had pretty fast cars back then, and I could go 230 kilometers per hour, which is around 170 miles, something like that.
You drove 170 miles.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was married previously, my ex-wife's family, someone in the family bought a Ford Probe Turbo.
Mhm.
And they're like, here, you should take this let's go for a ride. I'm like, okay. And we're like kind of a skinny, shaky road. And he's like, punch it. Cause I've never driven a turbo before. I kicked that thing in the ass. It's scary how quickly that turbo kicks in. I was like 105 and I was scared. I was like, nah, I'm not meant to go this fast. Hey, North of the Rockies, thank you so much for your contribution. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man. Yep.
Yeah, I've got a little story. I know a couple of people who wrote for German Metal Hammer magazine, and the American musicians that came over, they always borrowed cars from car rental, from Sixt or whatever, and they always rented fast cars because they want to speed on the on the highway.
Wow.
I remember Kenny Hickey from Type O Negative. He asked if he could borrow my car.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What were you driving at the time?
Huh?
What were you driving?
Volkswagen Golf. But I had the big one.
Right.
Not big, but fast.
Very fast, yep. Fast and light. All right. Alan.
All right. Just another sort of, summer driving back and forth through the Carolinas type album that stayed in the truck for a lot of those long summer road trips. Wuthering Heights, Far from the Madding Crowd. Cool band. This was, I'll have to check. They did a couple albums before this, but they hadn't really ever connected. This was their third album from 2003. and they brought in a new vocalist named Nils Patrick Johansson, and really kind of helped the band get where they wanted to be. He has a pretty deep, rich voice. A lot of people compared him to Ronnie James Dio, which is probably a little bit of a stretch, but at least gives you an idea of where it's at. Hey, Tommy, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tommy.
But they really very good songwriting here. A little eccentric, but in the European power metal tradition, the band's out of Denmark. I always want to say they're out of the United Kingdom somewhere, but actually a Danish band. And they have songs. A lot of it, a little bit fantasy themed, but a little poetic. They have a song here called "Tree" that's told from the point of view of a tree, which sounds like a horrible idea, but it's actually a really cool song. You have an instrumental called "Bad Hobbits Die Hard." I love the title. How can you go wrong with that? One of the guitarists was the main songwriter. Let me double check his name. Haven't played this band in a while, so I'm a little rusty on some of the details.
Sent me the one before. I don't know. You sent me one of them. It was quite good.
Yes, I think I sent you a copy of Salt, which was the last album they've done to date. But
good.
Eric Raven, a guitarist, really talented guy. They just write really cool songs. A little bit of a folky vibe, maybe, to the not Get Hard, Die Hard. Get your mind out of the Shire gutter there, Dwayne. But yeah, very cool album. It checks all the right boxes for me, and so it was just another very good one to put on when you had those long road trips. You're just trying to eat away hundreds of miles of interstate during the summer. And yes, as Marty mentioned, the albums that came after this were quite good too. They did one called Shadow Cabinet, which is decent, and then the last one they've done to date, Salt, had a nautical theme. It wasn't a concept album. It wasn't telling a story. But all the songs kind of tied into nautical stuff. They had a lot of, sort of like seafaring, jaunty music. They literally have like an accordion in one of the songs. But it all works incredibly well because they use it as kind of like a folk influence. Unfortunately, several years ago, Eric had major issues with his playing hand. I don't know or remember the details. I've heard that he's, kind of in the past, so hopefully they can kind of get the band back on track, because it's been about 10 years since they put something out, and in my mind, they were really one of the up and coming power metal bands there in the late 2000s up to around 2010, 2011, and unfortunately they got sidelined with his medical condition. If they ever get that lineup back together and put out a new album, I will be the first person in line to pre-order that thing, because they were really putting out some quality stuff before having to go on hiatus. So yes, Wuthering Heights, weird name. Yes, I know that's not exactly a it's not Slayer, it's not Morbid Angel, it's not Corpse Vomit, but it's really good European power metal.
All right,
over to you, Marty.
Jurgen said death metal couldn't be good summer music. I've got one album that would be a good summer album. Here it comes. The feel-good hit of the summer, Bleed For Us To Live by Gutted. The feel-good.
If I had 50 guesses, I was not have guessed that's what you were.
This album is fun. The songs are groovy. I don't know. There's just something about this. It's so catchy. It's so heavy, so catchy. God, let me see here. Chopped Up at the Altar. God, nothing says summer like that. I could think of, hanging out at the local Dairy Queen with your sweetheart. Chock Full of Guts. That's got to be up there somewhere. Yeah. Kicking the Corpse. Flood of Blood.
Because I'm kicking the corpse in my little deuce coupe. Woo.
This, I don't know. I'm actually being serious. This is just one of those albums. It's really well produced. It's mid-paced, super heavy, super groovy. It's a windows down, blasting this shit out your car stereo while you're driving around town, thinking you're cool. But yeah, OG Press, Red Light. Saw these guys once. They were fantastic. Great band.
I had the OG press of that long ago. I actually sent it to one of Matt at the Dark Path, one of his friends. I'm pretty sure I traded it to him for something.
They've reissued it. It's been reissued on tape and vinyl by, I can't remember who did it this last year, I think it was.
It's a good album. It just, at the time, I had so much death metal stuff laying around, it was just never getting played. We make choices.
All right, Jurgen.
So most of the stuff that I've shown has gone back to my youth, but actually there are pretty good summer albums released in the last 15 years, something like that. Orchid's first full-length album, Capricorn.
Oh, I love that album.
What a great album. It's basically, it's a one-to-one copy of 70s Sabbath stuff, but every song on that album rules, and it's got a fevery 70s vibe going on, even with the cover artwork. Pictures in here. I've seen them on that tour, and they played a small club. There were maybe 50 to 70 people, and it was hot as hell. So I connect that to the summer. And I loved to play that in the car.
Yes.
Great modern day doom metal album. The follow-up is okay. It's by far not as good as that.
Agreed. Yep.
All right. Alan.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great pick, Jurgen. You're right. It's perfect car music. The last car I owned that had a CD player in it, I kept like 5 or 6 CDs in the car. Just they never came out of the car, and that was Capricorn was one of them. Even though it's a blatant Black Sabbath, it's almost a tribute band. They do it so well. Yeah, it's great.
On that album, you can connect every song. You can connect to another old Sabbath song.
Yes, you can almost connect every riff to an old Sabbath song somewhere. But it's funny. It really is like they took all these old Sabbath songs apart and just recombined the pieces into new songs. And it works perfectly. It shouldn't, but it does.
So no wonder they only released 2 full-length albums.
Yeah, it's a shame they haven't done anything else. They're still listed as active on Metal Archives because I check every now and then, but it's been 2015 since they did anything, so I don't know what's up with that.
Maybe when they come back, they start to recycle the 80s Dio era.
Maybe they go hipster and skip the Dio era and go straight to the Tony Martin era.
Yeah.
The next album will be Headless Capricorn.
Headless Capricorn, yeah.
All right, Alan.
All right, another summertime album for me is this one because it came out in kind of late spring. It is Misfits with American Psycho. This was the comeback album with, of course, Michael Graves taking Glenn Danzig's place on vocals. The band had been back together for a year or so at this point, playing shows, recording new stuff. And this came out in May of 97. And I know it came out in May 97 because I couldn't buy it when it was released because I was literally out in the middle of the desert digging up dinosaurs when this thing got released. I knew it was going to come out, and I knew I was going to miss the release. Because we were doing like a 3-week excavation out in the middle of nowhere in South Texas, literally right on the Mexico border. And it was one of those things that we got back to town. I dropped off my field gear, went back, got a shower, and literally within an hour or two later, I was at the record store buying this because I wanted to hear it so bad. And it was then became a big part of the soundtrack for the summer of 1997. People vary a lot on whether they like this era of Misfits or not. Personally, I love this era of Misfits. No, it is not as good as the Danzig stuff. We'll just get that out of the way. But these, the 2 albums plus, the handful of other stuff they did with Graves, I really liked them a lot. They still, were, checking off all the right boxes. Has its flaws. Not every song is perfect. But I was really leery of this album coming out too. I had, I knew all the older stuff, or most of the older stuff. I had seen the band play live with this lineup, so I knew they sounded pretty good. They had even played one or two of the songs. I saw them in May of '96, so about a year before this came out. And they had early versions of, let's see, it was Blacklight and... give me a second. They had an early version of Blacklight in the playlist and an early version of one other track. It might have been The Haunting. It might have been Resurrection. I'm not 100% sure now. Yeah, so I knew, okay, they were working on new material. That was no surprise either. But still, you don't really know if they put out an album, is it going to sound good at all, or is it just going to be a total mess? But yeah, this album, I played it a bunch, sat down, read through, knew all the songs, lyrics by heart pretty fast. And it was just, a fun time. And oddly enough, later that year, they ended up playing out in West Texas. So, of course, me, my roommate, another buddy went and saw them. It got a write-up in the Lubbock, Texas newspaper, which, of course, inevitably led to, some of the local churches, 3 or 4 people showing up, waving their Bibles around, proclaiming we were all going to hell for going to see a Misfits concert. But yeah, they did a write-up in the newspaper before the concert. This probably sold more tickets than anything else did.
Oh, yeah.
But, they sounded great. It was a fun environment to see them in because it was just, very small bar kind of setting. But it was a bar that was used to having heavier bands come through and stop. For folks that aren't familiar with the geography, Lubbock's really out in the middle of nowhere in the Panhandle. So, like, if you play Dallas one night and you're trying to work your way west to some place like Phoenix, there is not a lot in between on I'm pretty sure that's I-40. So, but Lubbock makes a pretty natural break point because it's about 6 or so hours due west from Dallas. So you can get up, truck to Lubbock, stop for the night, put on a show at the warehouse, and then the next morning you'll keep heading further west to eventually get to the West Coast gigs that you want. So we got a reasonable number of shows there, Misfits included. Sounded great. This was also before the Misfits were getting a little silly with the shows. By the time, Marty, we saw them live at Milwaukee Metal Fest. That was 99. That was the same year The Gathering was there that you talked about before.
Yep.
By that time, the stage show maybe was getting, a little too cartoony for its own good. They were definitely wearing a lot more of the kind of the sillier props and things like that. Exactly the kind of stuff that Glenn Danzig had warned folks about and why he left Misfits. He thought Jerry was always trying to push it in that more silly, goofy direction. But, when they played, Lubbock, you didn't have a lot of that, overdone goofiness. It was still just, these guys standing up there shirtless with the devil locks, sweating buckets, and, playing it really, really loud and violent. And we had a great time with it. So, yeah, American Psycho soundtrack to summer 1997 for me, for sure.
I gotta say, 99 was also the only Sodom U.S. Performance so far, I think. Mm-hmm. Saw Sodom. I saw Destruction during the Only Human Cannonball with that one guy singing.
Oops.
They got pelted with garbage and stuff at the show. Sodom were good. Anyway, it was a good show. That was a fun show. I didn't realize the Misfits played that. I did not see them.
They were the headliner, I think, the second night. Saturday night, because I'm pretty sure Cradle of Filth was the headliner Friday night.
Yeah.
I could have the nights backwards, not 100% sure, but they were 2 of the big headliners for that event. Yeah.
All right, I am up next. We're going to kick it with another Death Metal for Summer album. Jurgen is skeptical, but I'm going to prove him wrong here with a little Austrian death metal. We got Not to Be Unidimensional Conscious from Disharmonic Orchestra. See? Thumbs up. I know what I'm talking about sometimes. I love this record. I like the first one too, but this record, there's just a warm groove to it. In fact, the song Groove is awesome. There's one little moment of funk on here. The bring the beat back. Do 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 do. Other than that, this album rules. They have a unique sound, a unique way of writing music, unique vocals. Everything here is unique, very cool. Little shout out to our buddy King here with the deceased hat. The band photo. Summer album. I mean, I could again. This is another one of those albums. At this point, I'm just kind of picking stuff that I just want to talk about. I'll be honest, but yeah, this could be a good summertime record for sure. It's a little bit more. Again, I talk about humidity in music. There's like a warmth to this record that I think it suits the summer climate very, very well.
Yeah, you're completely right. I didn't even think about that one, but you're right. And the song "Groove" with the funky rap part.
Yep.
It's a re-recorded song from the old grindcore days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's from the first single or the split EP with Punch and Stench. But it's a re-recorded song.
That the groove song is great, and the one thing that's really stands out about this band to me is the bass. That super distorted bass. It fills in all the holes that were left by only one guitar player. You know, there's not a second guitar player filling in the rest of it, so that bass has to do double duty, and they just have a great sound, good unique sound. They're always a great band. I guess I was looking up earlier. They're still listed as being active.
They're still releasing albums, yeah.
Yep. The last thing they put out was a Raw EP, and Raw was the name of the EP in 2017. And there's looks like a compilation that came out in this year. But yeah, I have not. I think I have heard Pleasure Dome, but I don't remember being as impressed with it. But I don't own it, so I can't elaborate.
If you are a fan of late 80s Voivod, try it again. It's very strange music.
Cool.
It doesn't sound like the one you showed or the early grindcore stuff, but it's got odd riffs, and I think it's very, very good. Pleasure Dome is a good album.
Rick, if you have not heard this, I know it's a very unassuming non-metal, death metal looking cover, but it's a killer album. It's really, really good, for sure.
But they always had non-metal or death metal looking covers. Even on their first releases.
It's like like the inside of an abandoned warehouse or something with the sun coming through the windows.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
The one you're showing, Marty, I swear my kid drew that in kindergarten.
That's why he's awesome. All right, Jurgen.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
I pulled out the old Misfit stuff. I actually like their compilations. Legacy of Brutality is some kind of compilation from old 7 inches. They had 2 albums called, are they called Compilation 1 and 2?
Yep, just Collection 1 and Collection 2, yeah.
Collection 1 and 2, yeah, right. Very, very cool stuff. The early Misfit stuff is summer music. They had dark themes, horror themes, but it's uplifting music. It's a sing-along music.
Yep.
You can have parties with stuff like Halloween, TV Casualty, Comeback. You can sing along to that stuff, and it always reminds me of what do you call them in the US? Keg parties.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You invade a party you're not invited, and you put in a Misfits tape, turn up the volume, and steal all the beer that is,
or a Tankard album,
or a Tankard album.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, lots of love for Misfits in the chat. Yeah, TV Casualty. That's another great one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really fucked up lyrics in that song too. They are really weird, but in the best sort of way. Talking about puking in the corner in order to feed the flies that I know.
Okay, Alan.
Puking in the corners was another part of those keg parties.
Yep,
yeah, very
that was
much
part of it for sure.
Or pissing in the aquarium.
Pissing in someone's plant.
Yep. Yeah, Baloney. That comp, that was a big one for me too. That comp was the first time I got to hear Misfits and just instantly fell in love with it. Absolutely, listened to it on a road trip. But for me, it was fall music because I listened to that November 1st, 1995, driving from Ohio to Pittsburgh for a Society of Vertebrate Paleontology conference. And all we played pretty much the entire drive was Bolt Thrower's War Master and Misfits Legacy of Brutality. That was
you guys at the Vertebrate conference know how to party.
You say that in jest, you would not believe some of the crap that goes on at those things. It really is one of those cases of whatever happens at SVP stays at SVP. Yikes. We'll talk after. Remind me after the show, and I will tell you some things that I'm not going to say on a recorded stream. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Right on.
Yeah.
Ian, that's a good pick. Tankard is indeed very summertime. I would agree.
Yeah, it kind of is. I can see that. Yeah, Tankard was just one of those bands. I never could find their albums in the wild, so I was very, very late to the party with Tankard. It's my turn, isn't it?
It is.
Not showing off, but Gary, a Tankard singer, just invited me to some concerts.
Are you going to go?
Black Crowes concert, maybe?
No.
Nope. You're not going to go?
No.
Don't give up, Jurgen. Go. Have fun.
No more gigs for me.
Show the kids how you drink in public like a pro.
I don't want to drink in public. I want to sit at home. Referring back to Alan's rant, I'm going to wave around the Bible, and maybe if Glenn Bentman invites me, I'm going to wave around the Bible at home, and I'm going to go to a Deicide show afterwards.
Well, Gara asked you to go. You should go. Are they playing it, I'm assuming?
They're playing a lot of shows at the moment in Germany.
Yeah. I've really fallen out of contact with that band as far as their releases. I think Alien is the last one I've heard. I heard part of their new one. It's actually quite good. I saw some, I think at Rock Hard performance, and it was good. They still sound like Tankard. I'm like, damn it. I got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've got a long history with them.
Yeah.
On a personal level. So.
Yeah. That's cool. They're a good band. I love Chemical Invasion in the Morning After. Those are my two favorites. Of course, I haven't heard a bunch. So of the first four, those are my favorites.
Chemical Invasion is great. Zombie Attack is a lot of fun.
It's fun.
I know it's not as tight as later albums, but I still like it a lot.
I just don't like the chorus, the name of the song and the chorus 4 times for every chorus. They don't do that as much in Chemical Invasion. It's just a ripping, well done, awesome, superior thrash record. It's just great. It's great.
Why don't you like fun, Marty?
I love fun. I love fun.
It's fun to have fun, Marty.
It is fun to have
repeating the name of the song 4 times in a row is just fun.
I was listening to the new Angus Mix 6 album with my son the other day and enjoying it immensely.
Sometimes you can have
too much fun. I know what's up with fun.
Sometimes you can have too much fun.
Yes, that is too much fun. That's embarrassing, too much fun, but it's still fun. All right, Alan, what you got?
All right, last non-metal one I'll show tonight. This is another one from spring and summer of '94. I think the song had started to come out a little bit before that, but we played it all through that particular time. The hit song was Mr. Jones, and the album was Counting Crows, August. And
Alan's pulling out the stuff that I just would not have. I can't go where I can't follow where you're going, brother.
That's quite okay. No, it's like I said, I was going to pull some non-metal stuff tonight because summertime, as we've all touched on, overall, a lot of the stuff we're pulling is a little less heavy and a little less dark.
This is right, Logan. Marty's favorite band is Kiss. Don't question his fun levels. Right enough. On. Sorry.
But yeah, this was one. It was funny, that particular spring of 94, for the 4 years I lived in Ohio, that was the only year that had an actual spring. All the other years, basically from October until, I don't know, July, it was like, 40 degrees below zero. You were literally walking around in May with boots, coats, hats, scarves, gloves, the whole 9 yards. It was freezing the whole time. Except for 1994. 1994 had an actual spring where even in March, you could go outside in shorts. You could lay outside in the sun. The grass was green instead of just being a giant brown mass of dead stuff buried under the snow. You could go outside and have fun. And this was the song that was playing in the background everywhere that spring. And as such, I picked up the album, actually ended up enjoying the album quite a bit. And it became a big part of the soundtrack going through spring and into early summer of 1994. I haven't kept up with the band a lot. I've heard 1 or 2 albums here and there, and they seem okay. They're still a going concern. They still tour, and I guess they still put out new stuff. I don't really even know. Songwriting wasn't bad. Again, it fit in that kind of weird, just rock music, just pop rock music. It's not alternative. It's not grungy. It's really just none of those things. It's just kind of pretty clean, straightforward pop music. Maybe just a little bit of southern touches here and there, a little bit of alternative touches in some of the lyrics. Yeah, but not a whole lot, not enough to offend. A cool album, a fun summertime listen for sure. This really is. If you wanted me to pick just 1 or 2 albums that are summer soundtrack albums, this would probably be at the top of the stack. Counting Crows first debut, August and everything after. Heard some literally was out somewhere with the little boy today, and they were playing that same song. Mr. Jones is still on the radio 30 years later. They roll it out every summer. You can't get away from it even now, and that's okay with me.
One little fun fact about Counting Crows, I'm a wealth of useless information, and I'm going to share this with you now that you mentioned Counting Crows. The lead singer used to date Jennifer Aniston.
I forgot all about that, but yep. You are right. And Rick, yes, Gin Blossoms. I already covered that one earlier in the evening. Sure did. Absolutely. Those 2 albums went together that particular spring and summer. Absolutely. And
the one thing about, I'm all for the type of music Alan's showing here, but like Ben mentions Hootie and the Blowfish, I would put that in the same class as Counting Crows. It's kind of like meandering music with someone rambling over the top with a mouthful of marbles. It's all good. It's all good. It's just there's no hooks, there's no riffs to it. That's the one thing that bugged me about that band. I know a lot of people that love that crap too. I'm not saying I'm not calling it out as a bad thing. I'm just saying that Hootie the Blowfish, I never got why that band was popular. Couldn't understand a single thing that I mean, it's like this rambling anyway.
Yeah, and they didn't get some flack in the US for their band name, Cunting Cows.
Tipping Cows. It's Tipping Cows. Oh, wait.
That's a whole different band. Yeah. I do I think, trying to remember back, I think those also, too, that was kind of the last spring/summer where I had any awareness whatsoever of what was popular on the radio. Maybe a couple of things here and there in 95 and 96, but very little. I'm pretty much coming into like fall 94. I mean, already by then, 99% of what I listened to was metal. And by that point, it kind of became 100%. Those were a couple of the last, Gin Blossoms and Counting Crows were a couple of the last non-metal, pure MTV kind of albums I ever bought. But there's still good ones, and I still have them and still play them from time to time.
Right on.
All right, Marty.
Oh my God, Jeff, that's actually a good pick. That one in yeah, totally. I know I'm dissing Counting Crows, but like you two, whatever. It's all good. All right, this might be another stretch, but this is kind of a fun record for me. It's my favorite by this band. I like the lighthearted, punky edge of Norway's Ara Noir. Hades Rise is my favorite album by them, and this is just a fun record. This is a fun drive around, crank this album, punky black metal. I say black metal. It's punky, really catchy. This band has always kind of done it for me, but this album in particular and the album before it, these two really kind of came together for me. But I don't know, Jurgen, what do you think? Summertime album?
Yeah, kind of. The other one was Merciless.
Yep, Merciless.
The Merciless, yeah, right.
The Merciless, yep.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Lighthearted and fun, but with a black metal edge. Good summer music.
You can kind of see the tan line showing through the corpse paint a little bit, I guess.
A little bit, yeah. Right.
From the tank top, yeah.
Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah.
Hard to put
the farmer's tan.
Corpse paint on all those guns. All right, Jurgen.
Ara Noir are playing a lot of summer festivals in Germany. Not right now, but over the last 10, 12 years. Yeah. They played a lot of even headlining shows. Yeah.
So people in the chat, if you're not familiar with Jurgen's channel, which you should be, the link is in the description. If you're not familiar, go over and subscribe. He does awesome work over there. He has stated that he's kind of done with going to festivals and shows. So, but I bet every time you see the papers or whatever, you check and see who's playing these shows, right? You still look. You still look and see who's going to be coming?
Yeah, sure.
So what would it take to get you off the couch and say, fuck it, I'm going to Summer Breeze, or fuck it, I'm going to Wacken? Although that would be an undertaking. I don't know. But some festival, what would it take? What's the perfect storm to make you say I'm going to this show?
I don't know. About 5 years ago, I said I would go to another Maiden festival gig when they play Somewhere in Time stuff. But actually, no, I won't. Yeah, 5 years later. No, I think I'm... For the moment, I'm done with it. And I'm not jealous of my friends going there. I don't have a bad feeling missing anything. I don't know. I'd rather go outside and planting trees or vegetables, something like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
I get it. I just get. I still enjoy going to shows, but the older you get, it is a little bit different. It changes a little bit,
Oh yeah, it does.
It's so expensive. It's expensive.
Maybe I've got an explanation for that. When I when I enter the next part of the midlife crisis,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna go to every concert that I can.
It's gonna change. There's gonna be a shift. You'll be like, "Holy crap! What have I been thinking all these years?" Yeah.
Yes. Right now, Jurgen's stuck in despair. Oh, I'm too old to go to these shows and hang out with the kids anymore. Next comes denial, where it's like, fuck yeah, party on, man! I can
show these little bitches how to do it. Yeah.
Then a few months later, you eventually get to acceptance, where you're only allowed to go see accept shows. And
Yep.
I don't know. We like I said, we're a small country, and I had not years but decades of visiting 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 concerts a week, and I did that for ages.
Yeah.
I've seen everything that I wanted to see.
And a lot of the bands that come back around, like Tankard, I mean, they're a local band for you.
Yeah.
And you've seen them a million times. I can, you know, and the way it is, like most of the time, it's funny because, you know, growing up, most people hate the local bands.
Yeah.
But you live in Germany, so your local bands are typically pretty freaking killer. From, you know, outside looking in anyway.
I stopped going to concerts. I drank Tankard under the table, and I smoked out Destruction. So
mission accomplished. You broke some of your local bands.
yeah, but I broke a lot of them.
Yep.
So the secret is they won't let me in.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not that you can't go; it's that your picture's posted next to the door.
Yeah,
Do not sell tickets to these individuals.
you're right.
Yep. Albert Ample. There he is. A picture of him up on every festival.
Yeah.
All right. What you got, Jurgen? What's your next batch?
Okay, summertime is about fun.
That's my favorite Guar album. That's a good album. It rips.
This one and America Must Be Destroyed.
Yep.
These two had so much hits on them. I
Little
just
fun fact: Elaine Jorgensen mixed the song "I Saw Yig." Yep.
right. This one, it got slacked by the press, at least here in Germany, for the music itself, the album, but the live shows were always rated very high. But I think this one is a killer musical achievement. I don't know, the Salaminizer. Listen to the lyrics of that song.
Sexecutioner.
Sexecutioner,
We got
Blood
Slaughter
Surgery, Black and Huge.
Black and Huge. Yep. That was off their first album. Didn't they redo it? Yep.
Right, yeah. Yeah, Vlad the Impaler. Great stuff on that album. I saw them on that tour, and that was summer of '91
Nice.
with a band called Aversion. The two Aversion albums are great underground thrash metal.
Ah.
Nobody knows that band. And I got a pic from the guitar player of Aversion, and they signed my ticket. I don't know if you see that.
Oh yeah.
When they signed it, there was a huge fountain of fake blood
Yep.
right at the moment when they signed the ticket. So I still got the fake blood from '91 on my ticket.
Oops. Yep. It's better than the fake semen. Better than the fake semen from the slaves.
Yeah. This one came out in 1990. My
Back album cover is awesome. That's a great back album cover. Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
With the slaves.
I've told this story before, but it was out in Worcester, Massachusetts. I went to the first ever metal and hardcore festival out there. I was sent out there by Metal Maniacs to cover it. And it was like a multi-level stage. I've told the story on here before, but it's worth retelling because it's so burned in my mind. Slyminster Hyman came out of the bathroom all garbed up, started walking up the stairs, and I started going up the stairs right behind her. Her butt was like 2 feet in front of me going up the stairs perfectly. I'm like, this is the best moment ever. Very nice butt, but I'm just saying there's some blood wiped on it, which I'm a man of the world. I can get around that. That's fine. But it was good.
She was wide and huge.
Yep. Awesome. Best part of that whole festival was Slime Ensterheimen's butt, and my face was right by it. Anyway.
We did our very, very, very first show in '91 with my old band, and
Violation?
No. The very first band was called Obscure.
Oh.
And we did a cover of Sick of You at our very first show.
Awesome. All right. Alan.
Yeah, I think Gwar is tied with Overkill for a band I have missed live the most number of times, because they always used to play around us when I was living in Ohio. And every single time it would be one of those things like, that's the weekend I'm out of town. That's the night I cannot get off of work.
They played here in Traverse City. I couldn't believe it. Like a mile from my house. It's crazy.
Yeah, they played a lot. They were, I had multiple chances where I should have been able to go catch them and never, ever managed to. All right, let's see. I'm getting close to the bottom of the stack here. But yeah, as Jurgen said, summertime fun stuff. This is one that my wife and I tended to play quite a bit when we would do summer trips when we were first, dating and even married.
God, that album rules.
Aeronautics.
It's so good.
It really, but yeah, both the first two albums are quite good. I always preferred this one just a hair over the debut album.
Jorn Landa. Oh,
but yeah,
magic.
Jorn, great voice. This is, kind of, it's European metal, but it's not flat out power metal in the style of, Gamma Ray or Stradivarius or Rhapsody of Fire or any of that stuff. A little more towards the hard rock side of things, going to appeal more to maybe the Whitesnake fans out there than the Dragon Force fans. Just really well composed stuff. Members of Halloween aboard, so we've got the pumpkin box checked off just fine here. Unfortunately the band, Jorn Landa, reportedly not the easiest guy to work with sometimes. Has a great voice and seems to know it, so there can be some ego issues reportedly. After this one, he left the band. They got a good replacement in Mike DeMeo, who did a lot of the Riot albums through the 90s and early 2000s. But then Mike, he was obviously involved with Riot, so he was then back out of Master Plan, and I think Jorn was back in. But they kind of lost all their momentum along the way. These first two albums actually, had clicked with an audience pretty well, and they were on the up and up. But yeah, then the lineup instability and having to shift back and forth between vocalists just kind of cost them, and they kind of faded off. But this was another one, just very good for lots of summer road trips with the girlfriend, then fiance, then wife. She liked this one a lot. I liked it a lot. So it was a perfect one for us to play anytime we were driving around together on some of those trips in the summertime. Fun band. It's always good when you and the missus enjoy the same albums. Then everybody's happy.
Mm-hmm.
But as if folks aren't aware, my wife, definitely, trends more towards, the power metal or traditional metal side of things for some of the stuff she likes. So anything like Master Plan, bands like Avantasia are going to work pretty well if we need to listen to the same stuff in the car. Either that or we just switch over to the 80s pop rock channel, because that stuff was in the background with both of us growing up, so we can still listen to that stuff and have fun with it if we can't find something good that's heavy.
Yeah, these two albums for me. And we mentioned J.D. Kimball earlier. Jorn, the singer for this band, he's another guy that's got that bluesy croon to him. He's just got a cool vibe and feel to it. You also check out some Avantasia stuff. He also does a dual project with the guy from Symphony X. What the hell's that guy's name? I can't remember all of a sudden.
Russell Allen.
Yep. I'm a convert to the Jorn Landa stuff. He's a great singer. Absolutely great singer. Love it. All right. This is a summertime jam, and people don't like this record, but I don't care. There's something about it. Reminds me of summer. For the longest time, I was an Iron Maiden guy. Judas Priest was not ever on my radar because circles I ran in, you couldn't like both for some reason. But this was the only Judas Priest album I had on tape, and it's Judas Priest Turbo.
Of all the ones to have only one.
This is the only Priest album I ever owned, and there's something about it. It's just got the summertime vibe. I love the title track, or the title track of the album. Out in the Cold is a great song. Locked In, come on. Private Property, cheesy as hell. Parental Guidance, cheesy as hell. Rock you all around the world. I don't know. This album is slammed on a lot. I love it. It's cheesy as hell. It's their cocaine era. It's them, Maiden used guitar synth, so Priest has to do it too, but Maiden use it tastefully. Priest just threw it out there, balls out. This is a guitar synth. We're not going to hide the fact. We're just going to use it in a cheesy 80s way. Love this record. Reminds me of summer.
It's a fun album.
And these two albums sitting together, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. No, despite its problems, it is a fun album and does have some good songs on it. I like it. I recently picked up a copy of it on CD because I didn't have a hard copy.
True that, Dwayne. And yes, I just said true that. Jurgen, you're up.
Yeah, I can totally see that because the live album they recorded on the Turbo Tour is another summer album for me.
Yep. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. That's the one with the gold cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
With all the hands pointing on it. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That album has the weirdest track list. I remember seeing that, as a kid, thinking like, oh, hey, this would be a great way to hear a lot of the classic Priest songs. And you look at the track list, and it's just like, it didn't have anything I necessarily expected to be on a live album from Priest. So it was always a head scratcher as a kid.
The live version of Out in the Cold on that live album is
That's
awesome.
the best song on the album. That's a great song. Good song.
Yeah. It is, of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my next one.
Oops, sorry, Alan.
Oh yeah, Dwayne's right. I got kind of a weird brown copper cover.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
You're up.
So, as you all know, I'm a huge user, so I had to bring up that one. I fucking love that album front to back. No Lie by Down. So many fun not memories because I was
so many fun blank spots in my memory.
So many fun blank spots. Yeah, right. I know it was there, but I can't remember anything. But that album guided my way through the mid to late 90s. It's fantastic. Temptation Swings, Stone the Crow, Jail, the Black Sabbath ripoff, Hail the Leaf. Hail the Leaf has a bong solo on it. The first time I heard it on
a bong solo? A bong solo?
It has a bong solo, yeah.
Just what the world needed. Cheers.
Played by a guest musician, and it was a girl. Did you know that? No.
I didn't know.
I've never heard that album. I've said on here before, the Southern sound does not appeal to me. Like Exhorter, Pantera, Down. I've heard some Down. I don't know. It loses me.
Okay, Marty, you need to come over.
Dude, I was thinking about, honestly, I was thinking about this a week or so ago. I mean, it would be fun to get on a plane and go visit Jurgen for a weekend.
Only for a weekend?
Well, I can't get a lot of time away, so I have to 2 days of travel mixed into it. So yeah, it'd probably be It wouldn't be long. I wouldn't be there long enough for you to get sick of me. We'll just put it that way.
I think I can manage that.
I'll smoke half of your cigarettes and drink all your beer.
I don't think you will smoke any cigarettes.
Well,
but you will.
You are wrong.
You would come back as a total addict.
I'm already an addict. It's a constant. Anyway, go ahead. Constant struggle. Go ahead.
So, Down's Nola album is such a gem.
Yep.
The other albums have pretty cool songs, but front to back, this is the only Down album.
Yep.
That you can listen beginning to end. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. See, I'm making people like. I Hate God, another band I don't care about. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. Soylent Green never resonated with me. It's a Southern thing. I don't know what it is.
Stuck up Yankee sensibilities don't get
That's
us
right.
Southern folk.
Yeah, that's right. We won for a reason. We don't have to hear that crap anymore. Anyway.
Down was not very huge in Germany when this came out. I know in the US they had some little hype about them, but not in Germany. So when they announced the very first show here in Germany, I bought tickets for it and I went there. And I probably smoked more at that concert than Thin Lizzy was even capable.
That's why your face is on the door saying, "Don't let this guy in." Do not admit Albert Ample to the show. Yep. Okay, Alan.
Yeah. No, that's a great pick, Jurgen. Yeah, and I'll admit I was wrong on Down at first. I remember when it came out. Yes, it got a bit of hype in the U.S. because, if nothing else, the Phil Anselmo connection. And at first, I didn't really. I kind of passed on. Just like, I don't like Pantera. I'm not interested in hearing a side project from this guy. And I'll admit, I was completely wrong. I think someone sent it to me in a tape trade. Like, just check it out. I think you're going to actually like this. And players like, oh shit, this is actually really good. It's actually where I kind of learned to actually get into Phil Anselmo. I was like, okay, he can do a lot of actually pretty good stuff once you get him outside the boundaries of Pantera's music, which has just never been my thing. But yeah, that first Down album is a lot of fun. And you're right, the other albums are all okay. They're not bad, but that first that's the album. That is the album.
I think they managed to, if you're not really into Crowbar, you like some stuff. You're not really into, let's call it modern day COC. You like some stuff. You're not into Pantera, but when they get together, they've got a certain chemistry. They had it back then.
Yep.
Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see. Starting to hit the bottom of the stack here. Another one that's just played this over so many hundreds and hundreds of miles driving around the South on different summer road trips. I know this is one Marty knows well. It is Hybria, Defying the Rules.
I was going to pick that, and I totally forgot. That's a great choice.
Yes, the Brazilian
Lost Horizon
metal.
Lost Horizon.
With a real strong epic vibe to it.
Great band.
Yeah, really cool band. This is the debut album. Dug it out of a used bin. It sat in the used bin forever in a record store, and I was always like, I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. And finally stumbled upon them on oh crud, what was the one before Facebook that everyone used?
MySpace,
yes. Stumbled across their MySpace page, heard the few song clips they had up there. And literally that afternoon, I was running back to the record store. I was like, oh, I hope that thing's still sitting there.
That album rules. It really does.
Fantastic. Great, clean, clear, soaring vocals on it. Killer guitar solos all over the place. Everything you want. Strong, proud, defiant, uplifting. Just killer, top-notch stuff. They've stuck around. They've done a bunch of other albums. The second album is also pretty good, close to this one. Around the third album, they started making the songs a lot more compact. Like a lot of the songs on this one are running 6-7 minutes. And on the third album, the songs are much shorter and tighter. It's still good, but they're just really condensing everything into a very short space. Then you get to the albums like 4 or 5, and they kind of started, they had lineup changes. Not a good sign. They started to kind of lose the plot a bit. I've not heard a lot of that stuff, but the stuff I've heard is just like, no, I don't think this is going to work. But yeah, not a band that's ever gotten a lot of attention. But the early Hybria stuff, they did a live album somewhere in there too, and the live album is really, really good. So if you get any of the early Hybria stuff, this is, we usually think of South America for more extreme types of metal, Sarcophago, Sepultura, all these, Graf Spree and stuff. But they have some great bands in this style too. Viper, Hybria, Angra, lots of others as well. If you stumble across this, it's a great pickup and perfect thing, especially if you want to drive faster going down the interstate in the middle of the summer. You'll definitely pick up some velocity listening to Defying the Rules.
And if you like this album, you will like that Hybria Defying the Rules. There's a similarity, a speed metal, power
That's
metal
fair.
mixture with a very prominent bass, very aggressive, flamboyant, if you will, bass lines and shit. It's good. Jurgen's connection took a shit, apparently.
Okay, we'll get him back in a minute, hopefully. Yeah, that's a fair comparison, though, Marty. Yeah, Hybria is not as kind of over-the-top, grandiose sounding as, Lost Horizon were. They've got a little bit more of a street-level vibe to them, but yes, there are a lot of elements they do have in common. It's definitely worth checking out. Yeah. Yes, they do. There's lots of other good power metal bands from down there too that people have name dropped, and I've never had time to dig up and check out. But it's definitely a scene. It's not just for extreme metal.
Well, Angra's a big one down there. Angra's a huge one, and that's one of those things where
that was probably the biggest one that came
I've got probably 5 or 6 of their albums I've bought on like eBay lots and stuff just to check them out. And there's a handful that are great, and there's a bunch that are like, it's a little bit powder puff for me,
That is fair. Anger can be hit or miss, and yes, some of them can be a little too foo-foo sounding at times, but they do have a lot of good stuff mixed in there too. Viper's catalog had some very good stuff in it, especially early
Viper
on.
That you turned me on to that band. I picked up the one with the guy going like this on it.
Theater of Fate. Yep,
it's a great album.
It is. It's a very good album. The one before that's good. It's less symphonic. Soldiers of Sunrise. Less symphonic, but still a very solid. It could almost pass for like a European late 80s power metal album. But all right, so Marty, I've kind of hit the bottom of my stack. What have you got left?
Well, this might be a tough sell. We're gonna see how Jurgen thinks I picked on this one. Summer's about fun, right? So let's have some fun. Let's get real flamboyant and overblown. Let's mix some power metal with some black metal with Balsa Goths. Starfire burning upon the ice-veiled throne of Ultima Thule.
Oh, that's my favorite by them. Fun album.
They're a fun band, and it's a lot of over-the-top narration. These guys, I don't know who came first. I mean, this was on Cacophonous as well. They were label mates with Cradle of Filth, and there's some similarities here. They're both English bands. There are definite similarities between this and Cradle of Filth, but I prefer Balsa Goth. The album that came out before this, something over Lemuria. A Dark Moon Broods over Lemuria. Good album. But this is, I think, my favorite as well. Battle Magic is also really good. It's really over the top, power metal influenced black metal with a lot of narration over the top of it. Wizards and swords and knights and battle, and I don't know. This might be a stretch, but I think it's a fun record, and I figured it would be a fun summer discussion. I don't know if I ever talked about this album on here, but good stuff. A lot of fun. Jurgen, how did I do? Is that a summertime album?
I never ever heard a single note by that band.
Oh no! What? We stumped him.
the one band where the song titles are longer than the songs.
Oh yeah, look at we'll just pull up. I'm not going to read a bunch of them, but Look at the song titles.
Yes, it's like reading a freaking book just to get
Black
through the
Dragon
text.
soar above the mountains of shadows. To
That's the
dethrone the
shortest
Witch
title.
Queen of Mythos Kun, the legend of the Battle of Blackhelm Vale. Yep, good stuff. Journey to the Isle of Mists over the moonless depths of night dark seas. This is fun. It's a fun record. Check it out. Jurgen.
Do you know a band called Sacred Steel?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I do not.
Their singer Gerrit is not a friend, but I know him, and it's his favorite band. And he never ever convinced me about them. I never listened to them. I had the chance to watch them live, but I just went away.
Because you don't like to have fun, Jurgen. You just don't know fun. That's why.
Yeah. I had a Sacred Steel album or two, and they were okay. It certainly wasn't bad, but it didn't ever stand out to me a ton. And some people thought that was weird. There were a few people that really got into that group for some reason.
But yeah, Barzagoth. Maybe I'm gonna discover them in my next phase of midlife crisis.
Yeah, maybe you'll finally go out and see them live. Like, oh, Balsagoth's playing. Maybe I'll actually get off the couch and go check them out.
That'll be the show that brings him back.
Yep. Go take your inflatable sword and shake it, kind of like you're at a Glory Hammer show.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the Iron Maiden concert. I'm gonna skip even the Voivod concert. But when Barzagoth plays,
I'd hate to think what they named their tours, though, based on the albums. It'd be like, and lo, the return of the Hyperborean masses across the marching plains of Europe Festival 2024. It's like, by the time I finish reading the banner, the tour's over.
All right. You're
Okay.
up, Jurgen.
last one.
Can
I
be.
believe we're at the bottom of the stacks. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna end on a Stoner Rock classic.
Oh,
Blues
nice.
for the Red Sun.
For me, it would have been Sky Valley. Well, welcome to Sky
neck
Valley.
And neck.
Yeah.
And neck.
I love that. That's a perfect riff album for me. Great.
I think that has something to do with nostalgia with me because I came into that band on that album. When it was released, I saw the video for Green Machine,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and I was totally hooked. I went out and bought the CD back then. This is a reissue. And I went to see them in Holland. And guess what? They played 20 minutes.
Really?
Because Mr. Garcia, the vocalist, was so stoned. After 20 minutes, he fell over in the drum kit. So the concert was finished.
Well played. Yep.
Well played.
Well played.
But the riffs on that album, the sound of that album, you can break your car stereo speakers with that album.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've experienced that. And I've heard Doro Pesch from Warlock talking about that album, and she said this one broke my car stereo speakers. I just love me some stoner rock. I don't talk about that stuff in my videos. So almost all the stuff I've shown, I've never showed that before.
Why not?
Cool. Very cool.
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I have such a diverse taste in music. I could have come up with my favorite summer fusion jazz albums.
No, I rewatched your new living room tour, and I mean, you've got jazz, you've got all kinds of stuff. I mean, you're everybody thinks you're just the classic, old school true metal guy, which you are, but I mean, you like prog. I know you're a big 70s prog fan.
Yep.
I mean, very diverse swath of music, which is cool. You got to, man, or you burn out. You got to have avenues to fall back on, or you're just the same metal all the time is just going to burn you out.
You know a band called Scooter? This is a German 90s. What do you call that style of music? Techno.
Okay.
Yeah, but they've got memorable songs, and they've got good songs with catchy hooks. I even like that. And a fun fact, Mantas of Venom played in Scooter.
Huh. Wow. All right. Yeah. Alan.
I'm at the bottom of my stack. Do you have something you want to wrap up with, Marty?
The two I pick are such a stretch. I'm like, what Enslaved album would I pick as a good summer album? It was a challenge. It was a bit of a challenge. I'm like, huh. So I went to my favorite. This is my favorite of theirs. I'm like, and I'm sitting here. The longer I sat here, I keep flipping through the CDs. I'm like, man, that's not a very summer album. Not really. Not. That's more of a fall, winter album.
Good thought process. I agree here.
Though this is my favorite, and I wanted to talk about it. If you're not an Enslaved fan, check out Eld. It's great.
We'll do favorite winter albums in about 6 months.
Right. The first song, 793, The Battle of Linsfarne, is awesome battery worship. So I decided, you know what is a good Enslaved summer album is Below the Lights. This is the one. You got the feel good hit of the summer as Fire Swept Clean the Earth, which is another favorite Enslaved song. This is them still kind of clinging to that rough edge, which I really, when this band got super proggy, I loved Issa, I loved Rune, I loved that, but they started, Monumention was their first super proggy album, and it sounded forced to me. This is great. This here in the early stuff, I don't know, man. The prog stuff they started to lose me on, but there's some of that on here for sure. But this is I don't know if this is a summer album. I just want to talk about it, I guess. And then I'm going to end with this as another questionable pull for Norwegian black metal for summer. Tolka's Nattestid. Probably not a summer album. I just think of the first song on here. It's got kind of an upbeat feel to the harmonies and stuff. Nah, probably not. I was stretching at this point, but yeah, that's all I have.
Hey, I can save your ass. The Below the Light album by Enslaved, it has some stoner rock riffs.
It does. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That makes it a little bit of a summer album.
And really, this album for me, the first song is Fire Swept Clean the Earth. It's a monster of a song. It's the best song on the album. And after it, I don't really care much about the rest of it. It's still good. It's all good shit. But that song is exceptional. I love the vibe and the feel. And it might be a little stonery, mid-pace. I don't know. It's a good song. And it's worth getting that album because of that song. But it's not. This album is, wow, good shit. Awesome. I love the drum production. And this guy, Harold Helgeson, I don't know. He's a great drummer. He was only on one album, and I love the weird, really punchy drum sound. Yeah. So is that it?
I believe we are done. We do. Andy has pointed out something, and it's something I actually meant to mention at the very start of the show tonight. So, Andy, thanks for getting me back on track here. We had if anyone was confused tonight, we had originally talked about having a Thin Lizzy deep dive with Pat from Ground Zero Salem tonight. Pat had to reschedule. He contacted us several days, ahead of time. He's like, I can't do it. I've got some stuff I got to deal with. So that will still come around as soon as Pat's available. So that's why we, asked Jurgen on for a different topic tonight. But as Andy pointed out, someone still should have mentioned a Thin Lizzy album, because yes, if there's any 70s hard rock band that just screams like urban city, summertime, heat, sweaty nights, working through the concrete jungles, it's very much Thin Lizzy. And you can kind of, take your pick of favorite Thin Lizzy albums or songs for that kind of scenario. Whether it's Jailbreak, Boys Are Back in Town, any number of other great stuff. There's a ton of stuff on Black Rose that has a great summertime vibe.
That's a good album. Yeah,
Thunder and Lightning has a very good summertime vibe to it as well. So yeah, I should have pulled a Thin Lizzy. I kind of blanked on them because all the Thin Lizzy stuff had gotten put on the back burner, and so I didn't occur to it. But yeah, great call, Andy, and tagging it on here at the last minute.
Yeah, a summertime song by Thin Lizzy is Hot Sweat.
Perfect. No. Yes, and that is one of their Cold Sweat, one of their best songs ever. Nobody ever names that song.
What about Jurgen The Sun Goes Down? That's a sweltering heat of the summer and sun goes down. Kind of a depressing song, but cool.
Johnny the Fox meets Jimmy the Weed. I mean, it really has that late night back alley, making the kind of sketchy connection, the deal's going down kind of thing. It's their songs fit the season quite well.
Awesome. Well, Jurgen, thank you so much on such a short notice joining us. I know it's super late where you are at. You're about 6 hours ahead of us. People, please go check out Jurgen's channel. Link is in the description, of course. He's an awesome friend of the show and an awesome guy. We love talking metal with this gentleman anytime. And if you think of topics, Jurgen, please never hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to have you on anytime you would like. And if we do release from Agony, I'll let you know. You can join the album club on that one if you want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I just wanted to say maybe in the future we should do a rundown of the Destruction albums. That might take a little work for both of you.
Nah,
especially.
There's a couple I haven't heard.
There's a good chunk of them I would need to brush up on. I'll start working on them in the background so that when the time comes, I'm ready.
Yeah, just let me know. Just let me know 2 days before the show. I'll be there.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm down with that. That wouldn't be a ton of homework for me. I've heard a lot of them. So
you catch up on your Riot albums and I'll catch up on my Destruction albums, and we'll have both those loaded and ready to go for future use.
Well, the Riot might kill me. I own 4 albums.
There's only 12 to go.
Yeah, like the Thin Lizzy. I was kind of glad that Pat had to reschedule because I've been so busy I haven't listened to any of it. But
I need to replay the first 2 or 3 albums because that's an era I don't go back to very often. But other than that, I can do Thin Lizzy right now. But I can't because Pat's not here. But he will be. He will be in the near future.
He will be.
But yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out tonight. A lot of a lot of fun comments, a lot of great suggestions that came out there too. Reminder from Marty here, don't forget he's got the Mark Riddick design on a few different items. You can get you a black long sleeve, black t-shirt, white long sleeve, looked really cool on that. And also the zip-up hoodie, although maybe some delays on getting those produced. It's not something that he's going to make a bunch of.
I have some printed, but some are going out to freelancers for us and supporters.
Be patient if you want the whole hoodie. Please be patient.
I'll populate orders for a couple of weeks on that.
Yeah.
Again, Mark did all this stuff too.
Very kind of Mark to make the designs and allow us to use them. Really cool of them. All looks fantastic.
It's kind of hard to present this crap, but yeah, I mean they turned out really good. The link is in the description. Definitely go get yourself some. Some of it's printed already and ready to go. And Vine Rune stuff. I've got one more little teeny round of Kentucky things to go out. The Falls of Raros is here. The Richard Inman and the Panopticon, the basics are all here. I'm going to be the next couple of weeks getting those packaged up. Sorry it takes a while. I'm only one guy doing it, and people order T-shirts as well. I have to print all that stuff. I'm not bitching. I'm just saying it's a slow process, and I'm only one guy doing it. So you're just going to have to wait. Yeah, Mark Riddick is super, super talented. We love him. He's a great dude. Thank you so much, Mark. Again, if you're watching this that contribute this to the channel, I'll be getting you some stuff as well.
So, Marty, we should do it the other way around. I should maybe visit you. I would love to help you package up the stuff.
Right on.
We could have some fun in your garage. So,
yeah. Listen to music. Listen to some Angus McSix.
Yeah, and I could be a little bit helpful.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Mike, you have to get Jurgen using the tape, to the beat of Laser Pointing Dinosaur. He can get like 500 albums an hour packed if you get him up to full speed.
Yeah, I could have been helpful in sending out the wrong stuff to the wrong people.
I can do that. Anybody could do that. That's not hard. Jurgen, have you ever been to the U.S.?
No. I've been on tour with U.S. bands like Dying Fetus, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep,
I've never been to the U.S.
Yeah,
I don't know where to start because it's such a big country.
It's stupidly huge, and yeah. I think it would be better if I just come to Germany. It would be more exciting for me.
I don't know. I think having Jurgen in your garage would be pretty
having Jurgen in my garage would be awesome, and I'd be like you should buy a house here. You and your girl should move here you should become Americans. Yeah. That'd be evil. Having Jurgen move into my subdivision, that would be great.
But on the other hand, if anyone comes over to Germany, we could drive around the whole country in one weekend.
Yep.
It's crazy. I don't know. I'm a little scared to go 170 miles an hour.
You are?
Well,
live fast, die young, Marty.
I may have to smoke one of your fat cigarettes, and then it might be okay. I'll pass out.
We're gonna have a case of beer and a couple of big fat cigarettes, and then go on the highway.
Sounds like a great plan. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight, and cheers. We love you. Buy a shirt. Go check out Jurgen's channel. Go check out Let's Talk Metal every Tuesday, more or less. There might be some gaps in that here coming up, but Alan has got a wealth of stuff to watch on his channel for sure. And of course, we've got a whole bunch too. There's been a lot of people commenting and watching older videos, which is kind of fun. I'm glad people are visiting our back catalog here as well. So,
yep. And next Friday night, we should be diving into the Megaforce Records story and catalog with Sue Verica, who used to write under the name Sue Knowles for Metal Maniacs, among other publications. She, knew the Zetos and kind of got to be friendly with them over time. So she's got a lot of insights and knowledge of the backstories for how Megaforce came to be, and we all should have some cool albums and artifacts to show off from that particular era. Megaforce is one of the labels we haven't done. We kind of meant to do a dive on them last summer after he passed away and never got to, but this is going to be a great opportunity to do it with Sue, because she is very knowledgeable on lots of stuff.
Everything.
Megaforce in particular, she has a lot of insights too on a personal level. So it should be a really great stream next Friday night.
Yep. Awesome. Everybody, have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Cheers to all you guys for hanging in there and towing the line, doing the right thing. We will see you Monday. There will be a Kellen review up. I can't remember the band. Wednesday, the album club will be covering Processions to Reap Heavens Apart.
South American doom metal. Cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. We shall see. We shall see.
It Not a summertime album for Marty, apparently.
Yeah, that's it. Anybody have anything to add before we jump?
Time to go.
Finish it. I have to piss.
Everybody remember, stay metal out there, and I have to piss.